Another Friday, another episode of The Good, The Mav, The Ugly. How is it going out there, everybody? I am, of course, your host, Mav. You might know me as Spencer Bakuli. You might know me as the editor-in-chief of Bounding Into Comics. But either way, however you know me, if you're here, you'll know me as the host of this show, where wow, frog in my throat screwed up that intro. It was going pretty good, too, huh? Either way, I haven't talked in a few hours, so I gotta get it all out. Woo! Either way, you know this, or either way, this is Good Mav Ugly, the stream that I host every Friday to kick your weekends off right. Because honestly, guys, the world is shitty right now. Everything sucks, from the real world to all of our favorite franchises, our favorite IPs, our favorite games, everything. But there are still good things out there. And that's what this show is here to remind you of. Kick off your weekends on a positive note. Shake off all the crap we've been dealing with all week and have some fun, hang out, talk to you guys. Either way, we have a couple main topics to talk about tonight. It's kind of a different feel from the last few weeks, right? Because the last few weeks, I feel like we haven't really... A lot of the topics we've been talking about have really come from you guys, right? It's really been what's on your mind, and we talk about different things, maybe not necessarily what's going on in the news. I know we talked about Borderlands 4, but there's been a real drought of news in our sphere lately. But today, or rather this week, it just seems like a bunch of everything happened. We had a new Marvel release, we had a bunch of new Magic announcements, we had a bunch of video game stuff going down, so we got a lot to talk about. There is no shortage of topics that we can hit tonight, so hang out, come along for the ride, and of course, if there's anything you guys want to talk about, that's what we're here for. Drop it in the chat, and yeah, let's kick this show off. Obviously, we are still sticking to our early show time, so I know people are still getting used to the new time. I also know that some of you, might be over on the Rippaverse right now because our boy Andrew, Caffeinated Wolf, he is doing the closeout stream for his very first comic book ever, his very first story, published work, all that fun stuff. Blue Shift is dropping in Ripazine number 5. It is still available for pre-order right now. You can also get it after the pre-order window closes, but that means there's going to be limited stock to get from, right? Until it's sold out. So go get that right now. Let's see. Can I even pull up? Let's see if we can even check in with them, right? We will. Let's go bug Andrew. Coming over here to YouTube. There those nerds are. Let's see. Let's hop over here real quick. Look at that. Look at Andrew go. He's closing out Ripazine number 5. That is our boy. So if you're watching on YouTube right now, if you're watching live, go give him some love. Go hang out with him if you're able to. Check out the story. I know that, pardon me, however you might feel about the Rippaverse itself, I will at least go out on a limb and say, I believe in Andrew. So I've seen a bunch of the concept work, everything he's been doing leading up to it. I know it's going to be good. Go check it out, or at least go give him some love. Here, let's see. What are we gonna tell him? Shout out to our boy Andrew. Let's see. Shout out to our boy Andrew from the GMU live stream. Yeah, when's issue 2, or when's official issue 1. Woo! All right, let's see. With that being done, so with that being said, we don't have a bunch of people in here yet, but we do have people nonetheless, and I'm happy to hang out with either a zillion of you or one of you. So to kick things off today, we have Tevya. How is it going, Tevya? Been a while since I've seen you around. I'm glad to see you have you're still sticking with comic books. Obviously, you're one of the few in the sphere who does. Love the classic John Kent, Lois Lane, Superman avatar. That it reminds me that this is really cool, especially for anybody out there who is like a Super Sons fan, or at least like an anti-fan of what DC is doing right now, which is, so there's a mini series being published right now called The New History of the DC Universe that is covering, I mean, it is what it's It is what it says on the tin. It's a it's like a guidebook, a new roadmap to. Wow. In Arizona, we are getting like monsoon storms today, so all of a sudden the storm clouds rolled in and made it super dark in here. So my bad about that. But the New History of the DC Universe, it's a 4-issue miniseries, and each mini covers each issue covers a different time period, right? So first issue was like the pre golden age superheroes, right? So that's like the 1920s, timely, like not timely, that's Marvel, but like Detective Comics, Action Comics, all of that stuff up to Superman. And then you get the second issue is Superman to Crisis on Infinite Earths. And now we have a third issue that was Crisis to the end of Final Crisis. And then the last issue is going to be everything from Flashpoint all the way up to where we are now. On each of, there is our boy Dan Mora, one of the best artists who's working, and also like, please let the man rest. I don't know how he keeps producing so much stuff, but he's doing a set of alternate covers or variant covers that show like one highlight character that kind of like defines that era, right? So for the first issue, it was Wonder Woman, like the like 1940s, I guess you would call her Earth 2, right? Like Earth 2 Wonder Woman. And then we had Batman, like just good old Bruce. This last issue was Flash, like Wally West in his like shiny costume. And the last one's going to be John Kent. But it's John Kent in his good old fashioned like zip up hoodie, like blanket, jeans, Converse. Pretty much the version that was in play before Bendis got his hands on him. So what's great about that is that, you know, it's like I said, each of those characters are meant to like define that era. So you have Wonder Woman defining that, like coming from the World War II era, like everything is sort of just like pulpy, very almost throwaway, right? Like comic books back in, you know, the 40s, 30s, 20s, they were not an industry like this. It didn't become this big of an industry arguably until, without getting into like all the super details, because I know all of my comic historians out there are going to get on me, I'd say probably around the probably around like the 1960s, right? Like the 1950s is when the horror comics and the crime comics and everything started fading out because of the Comics Code. And then we started getting superheroes and Avengers and bringing back Captain America from the ice and all of this stuff. And so that makes sense. And then Batman obviously defines like that pre-crisis era. He was everywhere. He, you know, he's part of World's Finest. He was one of the definitive characters for DC. Then, of course, in the crisis or the post-crisis era, it's Wally. He is sort of like, what was I saying to Andrew yesterday? DC does not intend for this to happen, right? Like, I don't think they've ever looked at Wally and said, this is what we're doing. But just by happenstance of, like, who his character is, where he is, how he is, all that stuff, Wally is very much the Spider-Man of DC, right? Young guy, tries to be optimistic, also, you know, cares about, you know, love, like there's a woman that's at the center of everything, there's tragedy, there's responsibility, all that sort of stuff, that, you know, and through it all he's smiling, he's laughing, he's cracking jokes. He was, you know, kind of the definitive character of the 90s. He might not have been, you know, your big poster child, but he was everywhere. He was a highlight. People loved Wally. And then of course we go into the Justice League animated series, and it's off to the races from there. We know how history shakes out from there. But to say, oh, the generational character for this era of Flashpoint, New 52, Rebirth, Dark Knights, whatever, like up to now, that's defined by John, right? Like young, optimistic, following his dad's footsteps, but does it a little different than his dad, like John. And I think that is fantastic. Like I love I love it. I love John being done right. Like, it's just, again, obviously I don't care about him being gay. That's a whatever issue to me. But the whole taking him out of continuity and bringing him back, and he's 13 or he's 18, 16 now, and we just missed all of his growth and we skipped over everything, and now he isn't even the same age as Damien, and it got really bad, and that is a lot of Bendis. But it is nice to see DC kind of like, this is as close as we're gonna get to an admission from DC that like, yeah, we didn't make the right choice here. Like we know what it should be. So I don't know. That was a, thank you, Tevya. I don't know why I went on such a thing about that, but always happy to. Let me adjust my camera. It's looking all weird here. Along with my hair looking all like 90s Green Goblin or whatever. But from there we have Timon. How's it going, Timon? My brother down in Brazil. Timon says, the thing of calling the ages in metal will not work forever. I mean, we're kind of already out of it, right? Like, we can all be honest with ourselves. Who actually uses the term, like, the Bronze Age of comics, right? Like, that is a thing that's like the 80s, 90s, or like 70s, 80s, 90s. That would be the Bronze Age of comics. But even not, like, the how do I put this, Timon? I think everybody out there understands where I'm trying to get to, but it's like there's not enough of a delineation anymore in sort of the styles and publishing like world of comics, right? That it doesn't feel quite right to say like that's an entire other age. Like, it was more definitive between the 1940s or like pre-1940s and then the 1940s, 50s, 60s. Those were really easy because for pre-40s comic books are very much this sort of just thing you throw out there. You add a couple of them to a newspaper and you sell them on bubble gum. They're entertaining, of course, but they're not giant. And then you get into the Silver Age, which is then you get into the Silver Age, which is superheroes are starting to take off, and now we're getting like definitive continuity. We're getting actual characters. We're getting dedicated books to these guys. It's becoming an industry. Then we get the like jump from the like comics still being like a sort of side gig to the publishing world, right? Like, this is cool, like we'll keep publishing them, to becoming its own thing in like the 60s. Nowadays, yeah, see, gold and silver are the most used because they're the easiest. Nowadays, I would say like the way I start defining things nowadays is sort of like, and this is what I hate. This is where we get weird with it, right? Contemporary versus modern versus, whatever. And that's where it gets weird, because honestly, the only like age I can think we've had since then was the 90s, when, and you can define that age as like we came out of the 80s when things were sort of, they're starting to blow up. We just had Crisis on Infinite Earths. The DC is saying, okay, we got to start taking these things actually seriously. People are starting to care. And then we hit the 90s where blood and guts and super rippling muscles and all of that stuff, right? And variant covers out the butthole and embossed covers and foil covers and blind bag. How many people have Death of Superman #1 sitting around in their house? Things like that. So like that to me is a definitive age. But then I am like very annoyed by that like one corner of my like floor showing down there, because I feel like it throws off the entire like angles and aesthetics and everything. All right, that should be better. Okay, yeah. So yeah, because then like the 90s is an era. After that we hit, I would say like after that we hit like the 2000s, right? And there was the big comic crash of the 90s, and so the 2000s sort of reset us back to like, okay, let's stop, like, yes, keep appealing to the like normie or the mass market, right? Because of course you gotta, as a business, every business does this, but we don't have to necessarily play to the speculators super hard. We still want it, but we don't need to make that our focus. And we've had weird eras throughout the 2000s, or like periods throughout the 2000s, but I don't feel as any has really lasted to be definitive enough. I'd say, because look, there I might make an argument for defining a new era with the 2014 Marvel Now rise, right? The rise of the super performative overcorrection America of, neoliberalism and all that stuff. We got to put all of our female characters, all of our minority characters, like all of that stuff. That was a significant era that lasted almost about like 10 years, right? Like, we're just, put it this way, Andrew and I, two diehard comic book fans who were turned off by a bunch of, well, obviously like Dark Crisis and what they were doing with that, and then all of the just overriding everything we loved. We didn't get back into comics until late last year, or no, last year entirely, because we got back into it with Ultimate Spider-Man, right? And that has to have released like December 2 years ago, because we're on issue 23, or we're about to get issue 22, 21. I don't know. We reviewed it last night on Foil Variant. Go check it out. But yeah, so like, I don't know. It's very hard there. You're right though, Timon. We do need like a better consensus. Timon says I would divide into gold, silver, modern, then garbage, shit age, and Renaissance with the Rippaverse. Garbage age was defined by horrible writing. See, I would put garbage age and shit age together almost, right? Because like, yeah, like I see where you're going here. And Renaissance, like now, like, yeah, maybe. Like that's where I get hard. Like, do I want to give a full Renaissance credit to the entire industry with Rippa, or do I want to say like that's a separate like saga of indie comics revival? It gets weird, right? Shit age was defined by horrible retcons and shitty characters, right? Like that to me is like the 2014 era, the Marvel Now. It is both the garbage and the shit. Because you say modern goes up till Ben Reilly's death, which I would say that's probably about right. And we're talking about like the death where he finally goes, right? Where he steps in front of Peter and takes the goblin glider to the back and crumbles into dust. I'd say that's a pretty good indicator of like 90s is gone, right? Like the 90s era, that modern era, I guess, or that bronze era, done. I think that's a good one. And then from there, because then there's like 20 years where I guess you could fit like garbage era into that. That's actually probably a good one, because like the early 2000s were very rough for Marvel Comics. They were not putting out a lot of their best. Don't get me wrong, they had some great stuff. I am currently rereading Christopher Priest's Black Panther run, and it's fantastic. But then we also had, some really weird times for Captain America and Iron Man, and Hulk was getting odd, and so was Thor. So it got weird. But then there was like, I would say like 2006 though, right? Like, honest to God, even though I don't like any of the stuff nowadays, Bendis with his New Avengers run and Ultimate Spider-Man in 2004, 2006, that to me starts a new era of like, I don't even know what I want to call the era, but like almost like pre-MCU, where we started getting like more grounded stories, but also doing lots of cool, interesting things with the more grounded stuff they were doing. And it really set them apart from DC at the time, who was really leaning into like Final Crisis and the Miracle Machine and Nix Uatan and all of the stuff that gets really confusing for normies. And so things like, New Avengers, putting Spider-Man and Wolverine on the Avengers over there, or Thor being brought down to like Asgard being put back or not put back, but Asgard crashing to Earth and setting up in Oklahoma, the Captain America era of the Winter Soldier, right? Like that Brubaker storyline, like the original one. That stuff is all good, and it was a product of those two, like that 2000s. That I would say like that up until honestly like that era. So like the Bendis Ultimate Spider-Man, New Avengers to Secret Wars, like Hickman's Secret Wars. That to me is like an era. I wouldn't say it's garbage. I actually really like that's my favorite era of Marvel Comics. It felt like, I don't think there's like one word term that I can use to describe these feelings. Maybe Andrew would have it if he was here, because he's always good at summarizing my bullshit. But it's like they were growing, right? Like that, like it felt like in that era, Marvel Comics was actually moving their universe forward, because we got things like the New Avengers, we got things like Secret Invasion, we got things like, you know, for what you think of it, we got Civil War, we got all of that stuff, which was really a big change to everything. And it was good change, right? Even though a lot of things were controversial in the moment, like we're killing off Captain America, we're, you know, I don't even remember. There's so many controversies from back there. That's like the biggest one I remember is the we're killing Cap and we're bringing back Bucky. What the heck? But everybody loved it, right? So I like that era. But then it is literally Secret Wars ends in like the beginning of 2015. That's when the last issue of the actual mini drops, and then we hit then the shit hits the fan. That's when that infamous graphic, the Marvel Now graphic, right? The one here, let me pull it up. And while I do, hey Punk, what's going on? You have not missed that much so far. Basically, so far for the last like 10-15 minutes, it's mostly been me and Timon trying to figure out comic book era, like naming, delineation sort of stuff like that. You know what I mean? It is not that one. That one's close. Come on. I can see it in my head. All of us can see it in our heads, but they're not giving it to me over here. Is that it? No. Come on. Marvel Now promo. Ripa is an example of indie. Marvel and DC started small, so renaissance for a rebirth of the industry. Okay, I do like that, because I actually think, you know, if we were like if we were to academically sit down and like check it out, blah 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 blah, all that stuff, I would genuinely say this. So we hit 2014, right, and everything goes to shit, and then in about 2016, 2017, 18, with the rise of Comicsgate for whatever don't even worry about what it is now, right? Like we all know Ethan is a big old clown shoes. That blowing up with Ethan's support behind it, and then seeing things like you know, Antarctic Press and how they handled everything with Richard C. Meyer, like that big explosion that kind of brought us all together, right? Like that's why a lot of us are in this sphere or even talking to each other nowadays. But that moment lit a fire under the industry, right? Like that was that lit the fire. And then over the next few years, as more creators started producing stuff and, you know, the fire started growing, and then as more like big name guys started going to Kickstarter or Indiegogo for their stuff, now you have I think there is a significant fire now. Like the embers have erupted to the point where the comic industry went, okay, we have to like rein this shit in. Like we can't just let the writers do whatever they want to do anymore, right? Okay, that's something I actually want to show you guys, because it's insane. Like I'm going to show you an example of just how bad, like truly, truly bad it got, like at a point. Let me just go and find it. But let's see. I'm doing like 5 things. Where is that Marvel Now graphic? Well, it's not this one. I can see it in my freaking. And like, what do you like Marvel Now? That's okay. I'll just search that. I was searching Marvel Now promo graphic, and that wasn't okay because I was thinking of I was mixing up 2 different promo graphics, so that's why I'm the dum-dum. But I have found the correct one. Let us like I will show you what I'm talking about. Bum 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 bum. Man, the like fandom wikis updated something recently, and now like they're all broken and like great. I can't even access the picture, but you have the highest definition version of it. So like, what do you want me to do? Okay, this graphic right here. This to me is the end of that. We're pushing things forward. We're evolving what the or not the MCU, but like Marvel is. And we're just going, this is where MCU synergy combined with the rise in like neoliberalism, that's where like all of it comes to a head right here. And because you see, like, this is where we started getting Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur and Gwenpool. And like look at all the emphasis characters here. It's all either characters who were in the MCU or the handful of like female characters they had available, right? The shockers here are genuinely over on, let's see, if you guys are over on your left, yeah, all of our lefts, I don't know. Work it out amongst yourself, class. But over here on the left, all the way on the left, you've got Fool Killer and Slapstick and I forget his name. It's not Fool Killer. It's like, it's not Solo. Actually, it might be Solo. But either way, that was the Deadpool, the Mercs for Money like miniseries that was actually pretty good. But all the others here are the, you know, let's push the legacy characters that Disney now owns and that we can meme on and joke about and blah 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 blah. And so this era does not die until about like 2 years ago, where we hit this to be determined era, right? Like this ultimate absolute era. I would almost call it the kind of what you said, Timon. I think like Renaissance era is a good term for it, because aside from the rise in indies, I think back to what Scott Snyder said a couple like months ago talking about Absolute Batman, and it has stuck with me. And if you guys watch Foil Variant or even this show, you'll know that I talk about it a lot. But he came out, he was giving an interview about Absolute Batman, and he was like, my goal with Absolute Batman is to re-embrace that idea of monthly comic books. I want, like, you know, you turn the page and you go, whoa! And then when you get to the end of the book, you know, like Andrew always says, it leaves you wanting, like, you want to see what happens next, like, to the point where you are, like, waiting with bated breath. A lot of comics these, like, this era, or like in recent years, they write for almost like like for the trade, right? So you might get 5 issues of something, but it doesn't read satisfactorily, or is that even, I don't even think that's the right word, but like you get no satisfaction from finishing an issue because it feels half caught. You know that you didn't get everything there. Sort of like, imagine a 40-minute, 45-minute, hour prestige TV show. If you take it all in that hour or that 40 minutes, it's a great like story. You're gripped there, and then you get to the end and you're like, oh man, like now where do I go? But if you take that, thing and you chop it up into, let's say, 4 or 5 episodes, you're going to get, the first episode might be really good and like gripping because that's where you've got all of the like plot setup and front loading, or all the plot setup and like the attention grabbing. Episodes 2 and 3 are now the most boring things in the world because it's all exposition. So you get an episode that's just like, oh, hey, let me tell you about things. Done. And then you get another episode that's like, oh, let me introduce you to everybody. Done. And it's like, what are we doing? And then, maybe in 4 and 5 things pick back up. It sucks as like a chopped up thing, but it works together. And that's what a lot of comics were getting to. So I think, and honestly, with what we're seeing out of Marvel and DC and Image and, Boom, Mad Cave, everybody, I really do think again, corporations will never, especially American corporations, will never, ever, 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 ever say like, we fucked up, my bad, right? Short of a court order. It's a uniquely, I mean, obviously it's a very corporate thing. I know that's universal around the world, but it's also a very American thing because we are a bunch of like crybabies. I know that we are, where, like me. So I get it. Hold on. But yeah, like I think they will never say it out loud, but I think they went, all right, we got to get back to form. Like we dropped the ball here, because more often than not, even if a series is bad, I'm seeing effort on the most part. Obviously, that is not universal. Andrew and I read, Exceptional X-Men is a terrible book. Hilariously enough, it's written by one of the big people from this Marvel Now era, which was Eve Ewing. So, things like, or over in DC, you've got, Flash might not be the greatest, but hey, Cy Spurrier at least said like, I'm tapping out. I realize like I'm burnt here. So I think that I think I like that renaissance, and I think things are generally getting better. Like, okay, couple like here. This was so shocking to me, and I want to put this forward as an example of like we are getting better. 1 second. Woo. Let's see. Jump over to. So with everything I just said about like putting your best foot forward and trying again and yada yada yada, the other day I was cleaning up my comic book collection, like all my recent pulls and everything, and I realized, oh, I have this. My Pakistani friend hooked me up with this issue. It's issue 1. I might as well read it. Now this is an issue 1 of a book. It is a third. Like, it's an IP licensed book about a character I genuinely, guys, do not give 1.05 shits about. And I'm betting you guys don't either, right? But, okay, so the book was the new Captain Planet book. Obviously, you can see it right here. This thing, like, who cares about Captain Planet? I don't care about Captain Planet. You don't care about Captain Planet. Oh, there we go. There's the double paging. I need that so that it properly fills. Nobody cares about this. Or like maybe like 2 people. It was surprisingly kind of fun for like what it is. Like this was like, I thought this was cool. It's just like he gets summoned and he starts like fire clawing, and I'm not going to keep picking it up. I might, if I get like super bored one day and I happen to come across like a collection of like the trades or something, I might read 1 or 2. But I was like, dang, I can't believe I kind of like enjoyed my time with a Captain Planet thing. So I definitely think we're getting to a better place. It just, as with all things, it took us a while. Let's see. Punk says, I don't know if you've seen my recent post in the Comics Den section of Andrew's Discord yet. No, I have not. I have been busy all day, so I might be around a lot, but be just in service of, keeping my my momentum going and all that sort of stuff. I might not always respond to everything you guys send or tag me in, but I am around. So if you did tag me, I gotta go look. If you didn't, feel free to. But let's see. I came to YouTube. Oh, this is Timona's talking about when I said this is how we all, came around here. But I came to YouTube for the first time after I played half of Final Fantasy 13 and was completely baffled on how bad it was. Saw IGN gave it a 9.5, and I went on YouTube to find look if I was insane. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't. Then Gamergate happened. Game Journal selling out reviews. Yeah, I mean, I generally meant in the comic book sense, like that. This is how we all found ourselves into this sphere of like specific, like bounding, anti, authoritarian like criticism. I don't even know what you want to say because, but yeah. So, but I mean that's Gamergate. Like here's my honest thing, guys. Like Gamergate in its initial objectives, like its base objectives, yes, I agree with it. There was a bunch of bullshit going on behind the scenes in the game journalism industry, especially with Zoe Quinn. And we deserve transparency as people. We are like it's a lot of it reminds me a lot of, for a visual metaphor, if you guys remember the Occupy rallies back in whenever that was, when there's an infamous like camera pan where it shows a bunch of protesters like down in the encampment like doing like communal like cooking and laundry or whatever, and then it pans up and you just see a bunch of like rich people on like the 40th floor of a building, literally with champagnes in their hands, like ha 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 ha, laughing at them like, oh, what do you matter, you're inconsequential to our world. So like I agreed with that. However, this is where I find it really hard to get a lot of people, or like I don't give a shit about review scores, right? Like I've never looked at a game and gone, oh, I had no idea I wanted to play that. Now I saw it has a 10/10. Now I got to get in on that. It's a lot of it has been word of mouth or me reading, Game Informer and seeing a preview I liked or things like that. So one thing I never understand is like today, so many people shit their pants about like, oh, this game didn't get a 9. You're woke. You're this. You're and it's like, dude, just if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. We should not generally care about review scores unless there is a giant coordinated like or maybe like coordinated or not, but just a universal sentiment that is like completely disingenuous and completely wrong. And that at that point we have to go like, oh, you guys are all reviewing this completely like from a stupid angle. You're not doing your jobs. But if it's just, I don't think they gave it the right thing. Oh well, like I love bad things. I love good things, and a lot of my favorite good things got really bad reviews, and vice versa. A lot of my the things I hate got really good reviews. It's all about personal taste, right? Yeah, dude. I grew up on Nintendo Power and PlayStation magazines. I definitely, same here. I was a Nintendo Power kid, and then, what was it? Game Pro? Right? I think that was one of them. I was definitely a Game Pro reader. And then, yeah, got a Game Informer subscription, obviously through, what do you call it? GameStop. And look, this is, I don't know how uncouth this will be to say, but hold on, I gotta turn the air on. It is super hot in my room, and I'm currently dying. But so to preface this, I won't get too much into it, but there is a philosophy area of study within the literature arts, like in English, right? About how, like, discussing and describing and capturing that feeling of, like, what is the experience of reading a physical thing in your hand versus digital, and all the different sensations. And it's very, like, look, I know who I am, guys, so it is a very pretentious topic. I know a lot about it, but I also know, like, you're all gonna either, like, tune out, or you're all gonna show up outside of my house like tomorrow to give me a big wedgie. Like I can see, I see Corey's in the house, right? Like shout out Corey. I can see like Timon and Corey tomorrow pulling up, or like Timon and Punk and Shinkai, they all show up tomorrow, and then Corey pulls up with like a locker, just a single locker, and they're like, put him in there. But to that end, I do genuinely feel like there was a magic. There was like
I used to use, like, for Game Informer, that used to be what I would read on the toilet. I would keep those stacks in the bathroom. When I went to go, maybe I'd read a new one, maybe I'd read an old one. But there was always, I'm looking at games, I'm reading people's stuff. Like, it was an experience. And it is very much not the same these days, being, on the internet and sort of flipping through Twitter feeds that are all algorithmically, like, programmed to make you as pissed off as possible and all that. Like, but I definitely miss that experience, if you will. Let's see. Punk says, I posted that I suppose... Oh, I'm supposed to get the Jeff the Land Shark #4 Luna Marvel Rivals cover that I ordered on eBay. Instead, I got the X-Men #2 with the Psylocke Marvel Rivals instead in the mail today. Was that a switch? Like, did you mean, like, did you order both of them? Or did they, like, accidentally screw it up and, like, send you the wrong ones? Either way, Punk, good choice on covers. Where, let's see, Johnny, Thor, yeah, okay, yeah, see, I got those too. Boom. Those bastards. Like, I was talking to my LCS owner, and he was like, wow, you're picking up a bunch of the Rivals covers this week, because I also grabbed these three, right? Like the Johnny, the Thor, and the Loki, because I'm going to complete out the set, especially if it's something that's like concept art. And he's like, yeah, you buy all the Rivals covers. And I'm like, I know. And it's because I was really on board with Marvel Rivals when they announced it. So I bought like a bunch of the first round of Marvel Rivals covers. Nobody had any idea it was going to be this big and that they were going to keep going. But now they fucking got me. Now they got me. I keep giving them my money. Oh, it was the wrong item. That's crazy, Punk. Well, the good news is, considering it's like $5, I can't imagine they'll ask you to send it back. So hey, you got the two waifu covers off of Marvel Rivals for the price of one. That, my friend, is a deal, as we say. Late Zero is here. Zero, no such thing as late. If you guys ever show up, whether you're hanging out with me for 1 minute, 5 minutes, 2 hours, whatever it is, it's, I feel honored. It's my pleasure. Yeah, it's my honor to host you guys. You guys are doing me the favor. I'm missing the right expression here. I don't know why. Okay, let's see. With that all being said, what do I want to talk about first? I guess, all right, let's talk about this first. 'Cause I think this will probably, I feel like the second top, like, we'll talk about Marvel Zombies in a bit, but I feel because it's an MCU thing, there will be a lot for us to criticize, a lot for us to talk about. But I want to talk about, let me pull up the right stuff. Bum bum bum. Okay, yeah. This is good. Here, is that big enough? Yeah, I think so. Or there, that's the right size. All right, I gotta just get to the front of the line. All right. Bum 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 bum. But I can't return anyways. They have it. So just because they have an overturn policy, that's not what that means. That means you can't return it. You can't say like, hey, I don't want this, take it back. They'll say no, like no refund, like no returns. But if they sent you something incorrectly, they are well within the right to say, please give us the correct product back, right? Because like, for a more extreme example, let's say you bought a, I don't know, you bought a USB-C cable, right? Like you bought one of these, and they sent you by accident, for whatever reason, a full MacBook Pro. They're gonna want that back, and they wouldn't go, oops, we sent that out. We have an overturn policy. Keep it. So just keep your eye out for that. You never know how they're gonna roll with that. But aside from that, Let's see. First of all, do, do, do. All right. And yes, I am still wearing my running shorts because it is fucking hot in here, and comfort over style, because most of the time you're only going to see me from up here. I totally should have hit my avatar so you couldn't see it. I might even go in afterwards and graphic that out. No, I'm completely kidding. I don't care. That's part of the magic of where we're here. But speaking of magic, so if you guys remember, this week was the release of the Marvel Spider-Man Magic the Gathering set. If you guys remember from last week, at the end of last week's show, I did mention, hey, I've got all of my pre-order stuff coming. We'll open a bunch of stuff today or on the next episode. Let's hang out and do that. Unfortunately, for the second time, they did this with my Final Fantasy stuff. Ordering from the official Magic the Gathering Hasbro storefront on Amazon with Amazon Prime, they are not getting it to me until about a week after release, right? So it came out, it officially dropped on Tuesday or Wednesday or so. I'm not getting it until Monday. So that is why we are not, so I just want to give an update. That's why we're not doing any, unboxing or opening tonight. I will probably be holding a special, let's open some packs stream on Tuesday. Because let's see, Monday is the Bounding into Comics stream. Tuesday, I got nothing. So yeah, maybe we'll open them just on a dedicated stream then. No pomp and circumstance. I'll just come on and be like, hey guys, what's up? Let's roll. But on that note, I still, as I said at the end of the show, I did go to my Spider-Man Magic pre-release event. I did go 2-1, which was super surprising. Unfortunately, that wasn't enough for prizing, considering how many people we actually had. A bunch of people at our pre-release, so I didn't get any prizing. Still 2-1, that's pretty damn cool. On the way home, I stopped at one of my local game stores because I was like, hey, I'm on my way home, I haven't been here in a while, let's see what you guys have got. Always want to support a local business, if you will. First of all, check this out, guys. I legit had no idea these existed, but, okay, so I've shown this before, but that second row of cards there, right? Those are Peach Momoko's Secret Lair drop cards. She did an entire set for Magic, which was, it's Peach Momoko. She's my girl. When I stopped in that local game store, I found that they actually made mats of each card that she did in that set. So I never hit buy, I grabbed in or this one and I was like, I'm not letting you go. There's no way I'm letting you go. And here's the crazy thing, guys. So this mat was admittedly a little pricier than mats normally are, right? Normally mats run about 20, 25, depending on if you're going to a reasonable store or not. This one was 40. And I went, that's a little much. 40, it is Peach, but 40's a lot. So I went, you know what? Let me see what it is on TCG Player, which is sort of the universal hub of online card game accessory, card game stuff, retail. And that $40 mat I just showed you is actually worth $170. Nobody is, and it's insane, because and I don't get it, because that store, so that owner, I actually know him. I've talked to him a few times. I don't know him, but we're friendly to each other. I talk when I go into the store with him. He actively he knows the prices of everything he has in his store. He's very he is a player. He's hobby focused. So things there is a Chocobo mat from the Final Fantasy set. It's the black Chocobo and it's shiny. That is worth $120, and that's what he's selling it for in the store, right? Things like that. For some reason, I even asked him, was like, I know I'm gonna regret this, but why so cheap? And he's like, I don't know, I think they're just haranguing you because we've got bunches of these in the back. So eventually I'm gonna go back and buy the rest of them. But that was serious. That was genuinely surprising to me. To that end, I did when I stopped in, because Spider-Man cards are out and they are on, like, they are available. Even though I might pull him in one of my packs, there was no way I was going to let my boy not come home with me for like $2. Pardon me, like foil. I was gonna get Ben. And yes, for anybody out there watching, this is like one of the super hard like magnet cases. This card is not like, does not necessarily need that, like, this level of a case. Like, again, it's a $2 card, but this is our boy. We're definitely sticking with it. Like, I love this card, man. I've been waiting my entire life for this card, man. All right. On that note, I do want to talk about the recent... Oh, it's not the right window. I'm going to close that. Pop us over to the right one. Awesome. I do want to talk about the literally recent, like, happened 5-10 minutes before we went live on the show, announcements for Magic the Gathering. Because, yeah, guys, this is actually going to be kind of rough. Quick note. Like, I know not all of us are card game enjoyers or card game, topic enjoyers. That aside, you don't need to know necessarily anything about Magic to roll your eyes with me on this journey, right, guys? So, today there is MagicCon, or this weekend is MagicCon in Atlanta, which is one of their, what Wizards' big, conventions where they announce things. They have Pro Tour circuit games, all that fun stuff. And, of course, with us coming up on the end of the year, we got a bunch of announcements for what is coming up in 2026. One of the first things we learned is that we are getting another in Magic set. So we're getting Lorwyn Eclipsed, which I'm all for. Like, I am personally bummed on this one. I actually have seen good reactions from people online and from friends. I am excited for another in Magic set. I just don't care about like this particular like offering. Like, it's a bunch of fairy centric cards, a bunch of like more storybook fairy tale, which like I'm not against, but you guys know me, it's not my favorite type of stuff. I will probably pick up some cool looking singles or some very useful singles from this set to throw in a deck here or there, right? But it's still cool. We're still finally, after 2 straight set or near, it'll be what. So right now we're going from Final Fantasy, then we had Edge of Eternities, which is an in-universe set, but it's like out in space and it was like a different plane. Like, that's what in Magic, their multiverse, their different realities are called planes. That's why they have plane walkers and all that sort of fun stuff. But yeah, so Edge of Eternities is in universe, but it is in space. So that's very divorced from the source material for Magic being all fantasy centric. So you have that. Then we have Spider-Man. And then the next one closing out this year is Avatar, The Last Airbender, which, thank God, I like the first show well enough, do not care enough to go like, I need my favorite characters. I might buy a Toph. Right? Like, I might buy a single of Toph because she's my homegirl, but I really do not care about that set. Then we're getting another Universes Beyond set. They have not announced what it is yet to kick off next year. And then I'll show you the whole breakdown. It's really bad. But long story short, it is nice to see that we are at least going back to something Magic related. What the hell is this thing? Did you guys... Whoa! It's like Snoot Horn? That's kind of cool. I gotta admit, like, you know me, I love my super alien-y weird life form. That's pretty damn cool. Then so yeah, Lorwyn Eclipse might be cool, might be some fun stuff that come out of it. This is the super limited chase card that's in collector's boosters. It is the equivalent of the Final Fantasy Chocobos or the Soul Stone from Marvel. It's fine. It is good art. It is actually very, very pretty and like technically good art. It's just not my style at all. So I'm not interested. It's the equivalent of when I show Andrew something with Peach Momoko, and he goes, she's good, and I can recognize she's really good. She's just not for me. So whoever, like, if you're in the market for these kind of cards, I'm glad. It looks, I got to admit, like, this treatment of, like, the black coming over sort of, like, the what do you call this? Like, the borders and stuff. I think that's really cool from a design perspective. So, yeah, more of that. Lorwyn. And, like, I don't know, this is like that one, this is where, how do I put this? You guys know me. I do like my, my bright aesthetics. Like, I like my bright neon colors. I like my Hatsune Miku combo. I really like, I lean more like feminine in my aesthetics and stuff. Like, I know that about me, and I don't care. This is where, like, it drops for me. Once you start getting into, like, this super hardcore, like, Lisa Frank pastel and like curvy witch, like, I don't know, it's complete miss for me. Complete miss. So again, it's just not for me. I'm glad for everybody else who is going to super enjoy the set. I am glad that we're getting some theme decks, as always. Any collected decks are always good. We also get a Secrets of Strixhaven set later this year, which might be cool. I'm not entirely sold yet. Strixhaven is basically the Magic Harry Potter, where it's like an academy and a bunch of different students learn their planeswalking powers, yada, yada, yada. It's not the worst setting. It's just, I already don't care about fantasy. If you're going to put them into a fantasy school, I extra don't care about it. Let's see. From there, we got, we got confirmation that we are getting more Marvel, like a Marvel superhero set next year off of, so we had the, like, not Avengers, but the Secret Layer Drop set that came with the Black Panther, Wolverine, Captain America, Storm, and an Iron Man sets. Then we got our full Spider-Man one. Now we are getting Marvel superheroes, which looks to just include sort of everybody. Here's the main preview graphic. We got Johnny of the Fantastic Four. We got Wolverine. We got Kamala. We got Thor. We got Wasp. We got She-Hulk. We got everybody coming around. Good note, like, I didn't realize this until I was saying it out loud right now. Iron Man, Black Panther, Wolverine. Clearly that's I hope this is where we get non-exclusive, just like bring the how do I put this? The Secret Lair drop cards for the Avengers, like the Marvel characters, are all limited and super expensive and super rare. But it's the only way you can get those, like, mechanics on the card. Hopefully with this set, we're going to get a $1 Iron Man that acts the same way or whatever. So I can leave my fucking fortune of cards at home every time I go out. But so, yeah, should be pretty cool. We got some, Cap punching a Hydra baddie, Iron Man doing, like, I love this stuff. I've always loved when Tony summons a bunch of his suits and you get to see them all sort of brawling at once. First of all, I like Iron Man 3. Everybody else can suck an egg. I genuinely like Iron Man 3. Outside of, like, I even actually like the Mandarin twist. I actually just, like, my most hated moment in that is the breathing fire. Like, why did Adrian, like, how is that an extremist power? But anyway, that ending fight where Tony is, like, summoning all the suits and he keeps, like, jumping between two of them, or not two of them, but, like, all of them, that's my shit. Like, I love that. Nope, I won't hear it, Timon. Iron Man 3 is good. So is Iron Man 2 outside of Whiplash. Like, that, Iron Man 2 is, like, the first example of, like, an MCU movie losing focus. Like, just keep this. It should have been all Justin Hammer, all, like, drones and stuff. That's a way better, way more contemporary story. They only put in Whiplash because that's an Iron Man villain, right? Like, bad move. But Wakanda Forever, as always. We have Killmonger coming in. Looks like we are fully just going with the. It looks like this is going to be, I guess, like MCU combined with the comics, because that's not what Killmonger looks like in the comics, but that's not what Black Panther looks like in the movies, or Iron Man in the movies, or Cap in the movies. So curious to see how they do this. We have a bunch of the Masters of Evil. This is a pretty cool card. This card reminds me a lot of like the 90s Fleer Topps trading cards and the painted, who was that, Greg Horn style. Very much a fan of this. Shinkai. Hey, first of all, Shinkai is here. Shinkai says, I would have been fine with the Mandarin twist if Tony had been challenged by Mandarin before his death. Other than that, I was fine with the Iron Man trilogy. Yeah, I actually agree with that, Shinkai. Yeah, let me put an asterisk on that. I do like what they did in Iron Man 3. I think the fumble comes after that in never following up with like an actual Mandarin fight or anything anywhere, right? Like, and then, you know, don't even get me started on the stupid retcon with Shang-Chi and everything. Like, that's all stupid. But on its face, like putting ourselves in that moment of Iron Man 3, 2013, and that all, like, to me, knowing like, oh, that wasn't him, what are we, like, the Mandarin has to come back and get his fucking revenge later, like, what's gonna happen? That was all really good. Like, to me, that is a good narrative, that's a good setup. They just never did anything with it, right? Like, they completely fumbled it, which, like, I can't blame Iron Man 3. I'm going to blame Kevin Feige, because that's 100% who screwed it up. Shinkai says, also, I like Whiplash for half the movie. They just didn't split Hammer and him well in screen time. That's the thing, right? Don't get me wrong. I like the depiction of Whiplash. I actually think Mickey Rourke did a really good job, and I really like the way he looks in that first scene on the racetrack. It's just, yeah, they didn't split them right, and it really is like he contributes nothing. If you took out everything Whiplash, and, you know, Tony gets attacked on the track by you know, a rogue Iron Man armor, or he like an armor suit, and they brawl, and then, you know, boom, he like blows it away. He's like, I have no choice, and he blows it, and it's like, what? It was a drone? Like what is going on here? And, you know, instead of Justin trying to learn the secrets of like old school weapon production from Whiplash, he could have just been like, I'm gonna beat you at your own game, full sail. Like, that's more compelling to me for Justin. Like, fine, I'm gonna be smarter, like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna find a way to win that doesn't necessarily involve me, you know, going out and being subservient to this dude. I don't know, it felt weird. And besides, that movie cemented Sam Rockwell as one of my favorite actors, because his Justin Hammer is one of the best. Like, that's just such a good character, such a good personality. Like, I love slick talking, like con men. I really like those type of characters, especially the ones who know what they are and lean into it. Those are some of my favorite characters. Punk says, I've got a very cool Elektra poster by Greg Horn hanging on the wall. He's great. I loved, what was it? The 2005 Dan Slott She-Hulk series. Actually very good. And all of its covers for that run were done by Greg Horn. And he just draws, you know, we all know he draws the ladies great. So that She-Hulk run turned out really good. Timon said, we never saw Magic versus Tech because of this. I don't know how to break this to you, but we did. The end of Ironheart does Magic versus Tech. I don't know what the hell happens. I don't think it's a smart idea the way from what I know about it. All of Ironheart was stupid. They wasted my boy. How does Marvel screw up Adrian Eichenreich, or however you say his name out loud, the Han Solo actor, twice, right? Like, they messed him up as Han, and that was on them. That was not on him. Like, they were the shitty directors. If you have to bring in an acting coach because you're not, that's not on him. And then he was the villain in, or one of the like antagonists in Ironheart, and it was whatever. But then like go watch Weapons. He's great in Weapons as the police officer. The man actually knows how to act, and he's very talented. I read an interview with him where he's like, so recently he established like his own playhouse over or like out in LA, like an amateur playhouse. And he's like, yeah, this is what I want to do because we can experiment and act and do things here. It's not all weird, and I'm not beholden to like, you know, you have to market this way and this market research. And I'm like, I can respect that. That's awesome. And then I saw him in Weapons, and I'm like, okay, you're on my good book. Yeah, so Sam Rockwell got the presentation that Megamind had. Yeah, absolutely. Also, really good movie. If you haven't actually seen it, go check out Megamind. Ironheart doesn't exist. Fan fiction. A shitty age character. Yes, I agree with you. But unfortunately, she is part of MCU canon, and we'll see her in a little bit when we talk about zombies, unfortunately. So, off of the awesome Masters of Evil, we go, I don't want to select that. Yeah. Awesome Yasmin Putri, who's actually a comic book artist. She drops an incredible Fantastic Four card. We've got Nick Fury of the MCU, or I guess if you want to go Nick Fury Jr. of the Earth 616. We've got the Heroes for Hire. Like, I love this one, guys. Like an old school pulp 70s style art of Misty and Colleen and Danny and Luke. Like, that's really cool. My only criticism is that they are not in their classic costumes, right? Like Luke doesn't have his crown and his big shirt, and Danny doesn't have the green with the big collar. Like, aside from that, very fantastic. Squirrel Girl card, recreating one of her most infamous moments. The Marvel Now card, right? Like, oh boy. And this makes me mad because this is clearly supposed to be like Young Avengers. And I like Wiccan, and I like Kate, and I really like Stature. Kamala was not part, like, I hate comic book Kamala, and she was not a part of the Young Avengers. And I'm not a fan of you guys trying to like retcon her and say that she all, like, stop trying to make her associated as like the eternal face of this team. Like, just stop it. But also, it's Cassie and it's Scott. Like, I'm excited about that. That's awesome. From there, we got the announcement that we are getting another another Lord of the Rings set. This one focused on purely The Hobbit. Which, side note, I am so, like, I don't know why this bugs me so much, guys, but like The Hobbit being made into its own sort of like sub IP to Lord of the Rings really bugs the hell out of me, and it really weirds me out, and it only, like, it serves no purpose to me except to milk it like this, right? So you can go, we have 2 Lord of the Rings crossover collaborations coming with the main or like the main books, and then The Hobbit, and it's like, but they're all the same thing. Like what are we? Huh? So whatever to this set, I really, really don't care. I don't even care about the current Lord of the Rings set. I think I've built a deck with a total of 1 Lord of the Rings cards, and that was my Green Lantern deck, which is completely themed around like light and will and courage, green, constructs, flying, like that kind of stuff, right? And I have a Galadriel, like Queen of Light, like it's Galadriel something of light, and she's in there because of light is in her name. That's literally it. But no, absolutely. I know The Hobbit was first. Like that is the first book, and then it goes into the Lord of the Rings, but it's all related. Like, and so it's like, I don't see the reason in divvying it up. I mean, even Lord of the Rings carries on a couple years after of The Hobbit, so it's like the equivalent of, let me think. Trying to look around my room for some visual inspiration to maybe oh, perfect. what this is like, Timon, this is like if they divided all of Kamen Rider or Super Sentai up into like the Reiwa, the Showa, the Heisei, and like not just by classification, but imagine if it was like we're teaming up with Heisei Kamen Rider, right? Like, and then later this month we're teaming up with Showa Kamen Rider. It's like, what? Why aren't you just teaming up with Kamen Rider? Why did you have to brand it out like that? Like, what are we? There might be a delineation we understand. Like, that's a prequel. These are the Japanese, emperors. But it still just doesn't make sense in the. These are the moments that, like I said, they just feel like money grubbing. Like, you can tell it only exists in its own shell because some rights issue happened when they got the Lord of the Rings first, and then they didn't get the Hobbit, but then they got the Hobbit later. But that has to be, licensed out this way, and so it gives like. By the time it gets to us, like by the time I see Magic the Gathering, The Hobbit, I just sort of look at it and it feels sludgy to me. I can just sort of see all of the like lawyering and the like, oh, I want this much of a profit percentage. No, how about this? Oh, but we can't do this because of this, right? Like, and all of that just feels so awful to me, right? Like as a creative, that kind of. It sucks. And so they're like, yeah, that's what it feels like to me. So whatever with the Hobbit. Again, I care zero about anything Hobbit related. That's just Jason loot because they're going to be in Strixhaven. We then get a or it's not Strixhaven. This is the Reality Fracture set. It's an in-universe set that will wrap up Jace and Loot's story, which I guess is okay, honest to God, I know that Magic has lore and it has characters. I don't know like where to ever get into it. Here's like, I would love to get into Magic lore because then, or like super into the narrative because then I would appreciate like the characters I get to draw more. And if I have to use like a bad, like, oh, this is an ugly art. Maybe there's a character or a scene on it that I like, something. But I don't know. There are millions of comics that I don't know where they. I tried reading one series and it opens up with me. It opens up sort of like you already know, like the setting, kind of like Timon. You know what we were talking about yesterday with Expedition 33? That's what it felt like with the Magic comics, which is like, okay, I could go back and wiki dive into it all, but that's kind of why I jumped onto this comic because I wanted somebody to ease me into it. And I know there are novels, but then it's also where do they fit into canon? Where does it's confusing. Wizards doesn't want to give you a guide, so why not just make a video game? Make a fucking video game. Like either make it like Marvel's Midnight Suns where it's card based already, or make it like Baldur's Gate 3, or even the like Diablo. Right? Like there's so many ways you could do that. Hell, make it like I'd even take like a Sony Sad Dad style game for it at this point. Just anything, guys. Timon says if they ever do MTG Showa you will Toku, you will buy it for me and we will see how do I get them. Oh yeah. You know what? I can agree to that. For you, Timon, if they ever do like a specific Kamen Rider cross set and there's like a secret lair drop for Showa Toku, as friends, I will find a way to get you that set. So from there we got the announcement that one of the secret or universes beyond the crossover sets for next year, Star Trek, which I don't know about this one. This one, if this was like a secret lair drop set and they were maybe doing like, do 4 drops, 5 cards each from, original series, TNG, let's say Voyager, and honestly, I would just do everybody. I would do Deep Space Nine, I would do Enterprise, like just do all the main crews or like the main shows, do their like 5 characters from that or whatever, do a drop of items, and then maybe if you wanted to do the Abrams movies, because as much as we all don't like Abrams, we all know he sucks. We gotta be honest, those Star Trek movies are pretty fun. They're not good Star Trek movies. Let me be clear. I'm a big Star Trek nerd. Not good Star Trek movies, but they are fun. They are admittedly, like, I have a lot of fun when I watch those movies. Well, until we get to the point in Into Darkness, like the second one, where they do that really forceful, like, Khan yell, and I'm just like, come on, guys, you didn't need to do that. You didn't need to do that. So I think I'm just weirded out by it being a full set. I don't know. Why? How, like, I don't know, guys. Like, why does this one not sit right with me more than the other universes beyond? Like, even Doctor Who feels like it fit more with this. Things like Spider-Man, Marvel, Street Fighter, Godzilla, like, those all feel more magic themed. I don't know. I can't. Obviously, it's something I've got to, like, analyze, and I'll be thinking on it. But, like, at this moment, there's something about the Star Trek, like, being a full fucking set that makes me go, like a weird aftertaste in my mouth. So I'll get back to you on exactly what I'm feeling there. So yeah, just a bunch of art. I mean, art's always going to be great. Like, that's a great portrait of Shatner as Kirk. I would want to. Who is this? Oh, Josh Newton. Like, if I was Newton, I would want to gift this to Shatner and be like, hey, put that up on your wall. That's fucking cool. Or like, you can't say that to Shatner, but I'd be like, dude, it would be an honor if you would hang this on your wall. Like, I made this for you. So yeah, a bunch of that. We got a reveal of a new exclusive Unicard that is going to be at future, like, in-store events, which, pretty easy. This is just, you show up, you play, they hand you a promo card, and you grab it. So anybody who's super into 10, there's a Uni for you. We got an announcement of what is this? 4. So what these are we got 4 scene bundles. This is a new thing that they just introduced with Spider-Man, where, pardon me, you get a bundle of 3 booster packs, like, I think like a dice, and then 6 scene cards, which are unique, like, brand new cards that, when you put them together, form a scene. So, for example, there's the one from Final Fantasy 1 with everybody showing down, or like everybody fighting against Garland. We got one for Final Fantasy 8 where we're actually seeing a good card for Squall, which I'm actually very excited for. We get one for, where is it? There's more of them. Well, there's the one for FF15. Pretty good. I like the Prompto one where he's taking a selfie with a chocobo. I'm not a big fan of 15, but I'm very much a fan of Prompto. He's my guy. So, man, they don't have the 9 one up. Where did they skip over it? Hold on, I know well, there is also one for Final Fantasy 9. I have no idea where it is right now. But those are all pretty cool. Obviously, the suckers, they got me. I have them all in pre-order. We did get, this is kind of cool. Okay, like, this is cool, and also makes me me personally angry. So they just announced that they're going to release a special edition of the Cloud Commander deck. So you get it comes with the Final Fantasy VII Commander deck, which is, super popular and actually super good if you just play it right out of the box. A download code for the PC version of Final Fantasy VII, like the OG one. And then this exclusive promo card that shows Cloud facing, it's the classic FF7 box art or like manual art, whatever you want to say, where Cloud is facing down the Shinra HQ. Let's see. Hold on. I think it got hot in here again. Man, what is going on today? But so, like, here's where I'm torn, guys. 1, I fucking love that promo card. I need that promo card. It's original FF7 art on a bucket. Like, oh, give it to me. I think this is a very smart, cool way to cross-market your product, right? Like, we all love Final Fantasy VII. If if you're a fan, like an established fan like me, we can double dip on you and have you buy it again for the promo card. Or if you are a Magic player who's getting into this set because your buddy, you know, it's either just the next Magic set or a buddy is getting you into Final Fantasy, this is a great way for them to go, okay, now I've got a deck and I can get into like this game. Like, I think that's super smart. Imagine if for things like The Walking Dead or Doctor Who or Assassin's Creed, they included, well, not for Creed, but for those other two, or like Jurassic Park, you include one of the movies or a couple, like 5 episodes or something. And then for like Assassin's Creed, you give them the first game or something like that. I think that's a really smart, like from a business perspective. However, I am mad that they're charging a fucking $100 for this, right? MSRP for the deck itself is $70. They're throwing on an extra $20. I don't know if I need, like, I don't know if I want to drop $100 on a deck I already have. I have 2 copies of that deck because I have the regular and I have the Surge Foil, like, limited collector version. I don't know if I need a 3rd version of it. And I definitely don't need, like, my 12th version of Final Fantasy VII. I've got a lot of those. So I'm, like, annoyed because I'm like, me! But overall, I think this is a really good move just for Wizards, for cross-game marketing, anything sort of like that. From there, let's go back to the main feed. This is really cool. They announced a new Chocobo bundle, which comes with, first of all, like this very cute little branded life counter for Magic, right? So you tick down, you know, take damage, tink, tink, and it's got the little Chocobo symbol there, the set symbol for Final Fantasy. It comes with a bunch of new cards, or new prints of cards, right? So we get this awesome Chocobo-themed Birds of Paradise. Then we get a bunch of Chocobo-themed lands, all in foil, of course, each coming from a different game, just like last time. So we have FF8 over here for our planes, FF7, which is the meteor, the crater, which is awesome. Then we have FF15, and then we have FF11, which good luck telling. I have no idea where. I didn't know there was any water in Final Fantasy XI. I only made it to the like 2nd quest in the beginning, starting Desert Town, because I was 11 or 12 or however it was, and it was a complicated enough thing to just get Play Online to work, right? Pardon me. These are just beautiful alt prints for Locke and Mog. Shout out to my boy Outlaw Moogle, like OM Steven. I talk about him a lot. You know, good friend, best friend. He's in the chat sometimes. He gets this new Mog. Like, he was super excited for this Mog print. I know, like, he's a big Moogle guy, so I'm stoked for him to get that. They're also just pretty. Like I can't wait to see these, like, physically hold them in my hands. Then we get 4 reprints for the main crew, which I actually really love. We have Aerith, Barrett, Cloud, and Tifa. Tifa and Cloud are hanging out with their chocobos. Aerith is just getting in touch with, you know, nature. And then Barrett's my favorite one because it's Barrett and Marlene. He's hanging out with this little girl. I love it. Oh, man. I'm playing Rebirth right now, and I know I'm late to the game, but hey, at least I'm finally doing it. There's a scene where who are they even talking? Oh, Cloud and Barrett are doing a mission where they're delivering some money from a mother to her son who is like left home and he won't talk to her or whatever, and she's just like, give this to him, let him start life, and like, I don't care anymore, like we're done. So when you're traveling there, Barrett starts talking to Cloud like, oh man, Mike, Marlene, I parents are always so protective, but you know, I want Marlene to go, like I want her to fly. Can you believe like people would ever say, like, do you think I would ever act like that? And Cloud goes, yeah. And he goes, and Barrett goes, I know, and that's what worries me. My little girl, like, I don't want her to fly, but I want her to. And he's like blabbering, and then Cloud's like, hey, literally says, get your shit together. And like, it's really good. I'm really loving Rebirth. If you haven't checked it out yet, again, I know I'm late to the party, but definitely worth it. We get more alt prints for Vivi and Stiltskin. We then also get more prints for the FF10 crew, Lulu, Riku, Waka, and Yuna, which are fine. They're okay. I really have nothing to write home about. I do like that Lulu has all of her like different plushies with her. Like she's even got the Kate Sith plushie and the like Cactar. That's cool. But that's and like the Carbuncle, but that's about all I've got for that one. Then we've got cards from 14 that I know absolutely zero about because I've never played 14 in my entire life because I don't have the time nor the willpower for MMOs. Like I don't. Let's see. Let's see. And then so that was sort of that's not everything. That's what we have to go to. That's right. We have to go to Secret Lair. So, we also got a bunch of announcements aside from regular Marvel releases or regular Magic releases. We also got the reveal of a bunch of upcoming Secret Lair drop Universe Beyond crossovers. And for those who don't remember, because I'm doing a really bad job of explaining it for some reason, I don't know why my brain's farting, but Secret Lair is the sort of limited edition first come first serve release program for Magic the Gathering. Basically they go, hey, we're doing, for example, like this Spider-Man set. They did this drop earlier this week. They're all limited. You have to get in a virtual queue to get it. Hopefully you get in line and like in a spot that you can grab them all. It does run the risk of selling out, all that fun stuff. And then, this is the only place you can get these cards unless you go get them secondhand. And depending on the set or the characters, that could run you a damn pretty penny. The Peach Momokos I just showed you, a single one of those runs about $20-$25. I got them for like $6 each. Like I paid maybe a $10 markup on the entire set, and so I'm happy about that. But then you have like this was a Secret Lair drop. Here, let me go to the main. A Thalia drawn by one of my favorite comic book artists, or like just artists. She hasn't really done insides yet or interiors, but she does a lot of covers. But Ryan Gonzalez, she did this Thalia, which like I cannot. Someday there will be card centering technology or card focusing technology. But yeah, like this one, $3. So it really is a gamble. It all depends. Character, artist, blah, 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 blah. That being said, we did get a bunch of Secret Lair drop announcements today. And this is where I start going, I'm not sure about this here, right? So these ones, this is a Play-Doh crossover set. So it's not necessarily a crossover set. It's more a collaboration where everything on those cards are like made out of Play-Doh, but they are creatures within Magic, right? Like Greensleeves over there or the Polyraptor. The Academy Manufactor is a more cartoony version of the one that we have in actual Magic lore, but it's there. These ones, I can't really get mad at these ones because every year they do an Extra Life crossover, and like it says there, half of the proceeds go to charity, right? They go to Extra Life, which, if you guys don't know, is a charity run out of Seattle. I believe it was this is the one started by the Penny Arcade guys that just, helps kids going through, recovery or chemo or whatever treatment, dialysis. It gets them video games, it gets them consoles, it gets them the latest stuff. It's good. It's a good thing that we should be able to do. So if you like them, grab them. Why not? I might just grab them just to do the charity donation. But overall, I would pass if it weren't for the charity thing. I'd have no interest. But then we got a new set from just a long time Magic artist, which I actually think I'm not none of these cards jump out at me. Well, Demonic Tutor, that is just a card that I might just buy the set for that, right? But this Armageddon is beautiful. Of Sarah, like, descending. That looks really good. From there, we get... I have no idea who this guy is. Jim Woodring. I guess he's a toy designer. Let's see who he is. Genuinely have no idea what this is. I guess people know him. He must be pretty famous because he's got a bunch of results and a Wikipedia entry, but I have no idea who this is. Anyway, he's getting a set. I'm never against these. I really do like artist sets, obviously, like with my Peach Momoko one. These are like, I don't know, just alternate art takes on cards that exist. I think that's really cool. Then we get just this weird, like, trick or treat set. I truly do not know. It's kids that are supposed to be like dressed up as Magic characters, but I feel like the art's a little underwhelming there. It's not that great. This is stupid as shit. Like, hold on, I'm gonna take a drink of water real quick. So you can see they introduced. This is a Magic designer like on the team. This is a mockumentary style reveal video because what do we get? Like, we're doing an Office crossover set of just Dwight in like fantasy settings. Do they have the cards in here? Yeah, so like go already, go. Yeah, so we've got I hit a button. Dwight, Steel Shaper's gift, he's holding a ninja star. We've got him like his fictional beat farmer, like the way he portrays himself. The Dwight O-Lantern. Ghostly prison with the fucking stapler and the jello. Dwight, assistant to the king. And then Dwight Schrute, hey king. Recyclops, eco-friendly. And then Recyclops, nature's vengeance. This to me, like, okay. I like Universes Beyond. We all know this. I've also been a big advocate for like, I understand why Magic players do not like there's a big divide within entrenched Magic players of like, we don't like, this is kind of immersion breaking, right? Like all of a sudden I've got my fantasy characters and they're casting lightning and Rick Grimes comes out with a shotgun. Like, Fortnite-ification of this game is a very regular complaint. And even though I like a lot of the Universes Beyond, I've always been, I get it. I completely understand it. And I would never speak from like, oh, you guys don't like it, but I'm a Magic fan and I want more of it. So, like, sort of, I'm one of those rare breeds that kind of understands when, like, time and place and appropriate, hierarchical things where I'm a newer player. I came in because of Universes Beyond. I fully accept and I willingly put into the record that like my vote doesn't like on these types of things does not hold as much weight as a veteran player who got into this, because they loved the loot or whatever, that little fucking, I hate him. But this one feels off. Like, this to me, I saw this and I was like, this, I'm starting to feel what they feel, right? Like, what, this doesn't feel like it's even, all those complaints I was just saying about Star Trek, how it's like, it's super divorced from the setting. I don't, like, I could have been fine with, this. At least he's dressed up in fantastical things. And Dwight is, that kind of a Song of Ice and Fire type of nerd. I'd have also been good with like this, Dwight Schrute, Hey King, where he's at least dressed up, again, as something. But when you go for things like this, like, you just wanted to do the joke, and like, oh, remember this moment? You didn't even like try to make it, look at those other cards. You could have made this something, right? Like, make the gel like a glowing slime, and then the stapler, make it a wooden stapler or something, right? And then you have Dwight in his Hey King outfit back there, something. But instead, this is straight up like real world Jello and real world stapler in Magic. There was Mark Rosewater is the head designer of Magic, and he has a blog on Tumblr it's actually really cool because it's a place where you can submit your questions and he freely answers them and he wants to talk to you about them, and he's very, very, like, he replies a lot, he's very open. It's a good branch of communication between fans and players. He recently asked, like, a poll of a bunch of players, he was like, do you guys like modern day items in Magic the Gathering? And he meant, for example, here, let's pull up the set, because there was a set. I believe it is this one. Yeah, so 2024, last year, they released this set, Duskmourn House of Horror, which is an alternate plane filled with, horror stuff, monsters and serial killers and ghosts and like, but not like specter ghosts like we would have. Like we have characters from the more magic-y planes that can summon ghosts like pirates, right? Or spirits to fight alongside them. That's not this. This is like insidious type of demons. It gets really close up to the real world, and in that sense, this set, like, here, Fear of Abduction. I love this card because I fucking love aliens. Someday, if it ever becomes relevant, I'll do a whole deep dive on what I think about with aliens and all the woo-wee-woo. But I love this. So I bought this. I was like, oh, that's great. But I also recognize this is not Magic. Like what? An actual real-world gray? Why didn't you make up one of your species stand in for that? Right? Like, you've got a bunch of things. You make it a sliver. Make it something. So we got things like that. We started getting, living phone, a haunted telephone. We got like an alien spaceship, like a straight up just like UFO abduction. Okay, sure. We got I know there's like one specific one that's like sticking out of my head that I want to place, but I can't find it. We will find it though, like I'm sure. Then we, things like stretch my arm there for a second. Where is it? Is it in this set? I'm pretty sure it is, and it might be at the bottom. But then, yeah, so just real world things like that. A baseball bat. I know, or like haunted screen, right? Like, that's just a TV. Or glimmer light. That's just a flashlight. Things like that. He was asking, do you guys like things like this? And everybody was like, or hold on, I'm just trying to see. Okay, I can't find it. I don't remember where it is. But there is a card that like has a fanny pack on it, right? And so that's what Mark was asking. He's like, do you guys like real world things in your Magic the Gathering? And his specific example is like fanny packs, cars, blah, blah, blah. And, everybody went, not really. And I can kind of agree with that sentiment, because that felt weird looking at that, right? Like, we were looking like a 1980s horror thing instead of anything kind of related to Magic the Gathering. That felt more like, do you remember Ghostbusters? Do you remember Poltergeist? Feels really lame. And, like, that's where I'm starting to get, like, with this one. I don't know. This Dwight one just feels really, like, it's immersion breaking. Who cares about The Office? It feels like so late to the game. Like, 20 years too late to the game for anybody to care about The Office anymore. Like, I know people still like The Office, but anybody who's my age remembers how much of a force it was, or at least, like, Americans my age remember how much of a force it was in our, like, pop culture, through the 2010s to the early 22s or 2020s. And it's just not there anymore. Like, that era of television has come and gone. And now we're doing it? Like, I don't know, man. Like, this is what I was talking about with that sludge, right? Where it just, all of it feels, you can tell that nobody really was like, I really want to genuinely do a Dwight set. It was like, what can we license? And it just feels gross. And yeah, Timon, like lame, so lame. Like this one feels really bad. Like this one, ugh. From there, we get another Secret Lair crossover. This time with Jaws, the classic Steven Spielberg movie, where do we have like the full card lineup? No, you guys showed it. Wait, where was it? It exists. Oh, right, it's on the actual website. We go to the website. Whoop, jumping around. Oh, everything is here. We should just be looking here. What am I doing? So, here is the Jaws cards, which are like, okay, fine. These feel a little better, but they still don't feel great. Because again, it's like Jaws. This doesn't even. I think this is what it is. Like everybody, like follow me here, right? Things like Marvel or Doctor Who or Walking Dead or Assassin's Creed. These things feel more related in the realm of like if you talk to somebody who played Magic, they would probably like Marvel stuff, like Marvel comics. They would probably really like Doctor Who, the TV show. They would like Walking Dead, and it feels like these are specific, like nerd, like there's a specific relation there, right? Even if we don't necessarily have a name for it, it's like you would understand, like, oh, that's the kind of like nerd media that would roll into like this lumped up circle, right? I think now what it is with where you're going with Jaws, where you're going with Star Trek, where you're going with The Office. Now it feels like instead of actually going, this could be cool for our player base, because I know a bunch of Magic players like Frank Franzetta art, or they like, the Dungeons and Dragons movie. Instead of that, now they're just going like, do you remember IP? Like this is just like Jaws and Magic. What do they have in common there, outside of like you could buy merch of them at Hot Topic, or their pop culture things. That's what it is, and like, yeah, it doesn't feel right to me. I don't know. Yeah, there's all the Dwight stuff, the artist set. We're getting an Iron Maiden set, which is like, okay, that's a little stupid. But this kind of, like, this to me is more of what I'm talking about. An Iron Maiden set with a bunch of Eddie all over the place. This feels more Magic than anything we've kind of looked at so far in terms of crossovers. I probably still won't buy them because I don't give 3, 2, 1 shits about Iron Maiden at all. But I still think that's pretty cool. I do have a buddy who is probably going to pick those up because he really likes Iron Maiden. Yeah, and then we get more Iron Maiden. The Trick or Treat set we saw. A Furby set with, oh, hey, look, there's a Ryan Gonzalez. There are 2 Ryan Gonzalez cards. I might have to pick that up. But yeah, see, like, this is what I'm talking about. What is Furby doing here? I guess, like, okay, it's Hasbro, sure. And no, maybe I could have been okay with that. But then there's the second Furby set, or like there's this Furby set, which is like, oh, now we're getting like the Furbies using like magic. And then we get into like super spooky cryptid SCP Furbies, and I'm like, this feels too much Reddit to me. Like this was a Redditor going like, what would make Furby cool if it was a grim dark Cthulhu thing. And it doesn't, it feels like we're chasing that normie audience too much with this. Like this one, all of this feels like chasing more than perhaps anything like previous. Then, yeah, I guess that is it. The Furbies, the Jaws, the Office, which is just great. But, let's see, before we move off of that... Oh, yeah, wait, there is one drop that we are missing. But first off, this makes me laugh because it's not Magic, but out of nowhere, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is now doing, like, a cross promo with Neymar Jr., and it's okay, sure. Like, I have no idea what we're doing here. I don't know who this appeals to, but hey, more power to you. And the fact that like Neymar actually like, presumably that's him dressed up in an actual Dark Magician suit and not some really bad cosplay, right? But still pretty cool. Now, this is the set I have been neglecting to point out, and this is actually the one I wanted to bring up to you guys like the most, because everything we saw so far kind of rough, right? I like the Spider-Man or the Marvel set. That's pretty much where my interest in any of this stuff ends. This feels like this. I don't know. How do I even preface this? They are doing a full Secret Lair drop set of Sony cards, and like, oh wait, this is way. I didn't see. Oh wait, that's just because I'm dumb. Never mind. Don't listen to me, guys. I'm just dumb. But yeah, so we're getting, we're getting Joel and Ellie from The Last of Us. Or yeah, we're doing a full PlayStation drop. So we're getting Joel and Ellie. We're getting Abby and Ellie. We're getting Nathan Drake. We're getting Kratos, who that one like he feels like he fits, right? Like I wouldn't be mad if it was a God of War set. Kratos and Atreus. Everybody's favorite, Mary Sue, everybody, like, she is the definition of a Mary Sue character. Welcome home, Aloy, right? There she is. Jin Sakai, the Ghost of Tsushima. And I think that's the last one. So, this one feels like I wouldn't be mad about doing like a full God of War set. Or even a full Horizon set. But then when you start bringing in like Joel and Ellie, like those, I think maybe they could even work. I don't know, just a full PlayStation set. Maybe my obsession with this specific set is like, this is where PlayStation's at now, right? These are their headlining titles and IPs and games, and they all suck. Uncharted hasn't had anything good in ages. The movie was a piece of shit. None of the Horizon games are good. Guys, Horizon Forbidden West, sorry, let me rephrase that. The Horizon Lego game. First of all, who wanted that? Second of all, it's only got 4 playable characters total. Like, no unlockables. For a Lego game, you have 4 characters. And then it completely invents personality traits for their characters to make jokes out of, because the characters don't have personalities in the game. You play a Lego Star Wars, right? They'll have jokes about Anakin being, listening to emo music or whatever, or acting like a teenager. And that's because that's his they're riffing and parodying his personality from the movies, right? Which is whiny, evil, I'm going to kill you all. From where I'm standing, the Jedi are the true villains, right? Here, for example, Silas, the tribal guy, he's like a tribal elder who teams up with Aloy, but he's actually using her to backstab her, and he's played by Lance Reddick. In the games, he is very much just that manipulator type of guy, right? In the Lego games, he's really obsessed with being a DJ and making sure you listen to his tracks. Where'd that come from? Out of nowhere. But it's because they had nothing to build on, so they had to do something. So yeah, that just altogether feels really gross. But to put the final stamp on this, as I open the link and take a drink, is... where did I put that? There it is. So, as that panel closed out earlier today, we got this final graphic. And yes, I love the fact that this format will now just forever remind me of the Marvel Phase, 5 or 6 graphic, where it just went all of these projects that genuinely never realized. That's pretty funny to me. But check this out. So this is the release schedule. The 2 big things to point out here is, one, they're upping the amount of sets from 6 a year to 7 a year. And that, to me, that sucks. I've long complained about the fact that modern card games, they or actually not modern card games, Magic specifically. Magic does this thing where they drop a set and it exists for maybe like 2 months, and now we're getting another set, right? Like a set will be out for a week at best, and then they'll start previewing the next one. With Spider-Man, we didn't even start Spider-Man previews, and they were already doing Avatar. It's unsustainable. It's kind of not fun as a player because I could, oh, I'm going to make this deck and I'm going to fine tune it. And all right, we're ready to go. And a new set drops in a week and it's all irrelevant. Or maybe I just spent a bunch of money to get this card that has been dominating and now it doesn't really matter because you've dropped a new set. So on and so forth, right? They say it's to keep it flowing and to keep the economy down for new players. But this really, let's be honest with each other. This is about milking us, the entrenched players. So I don't really know how I feel about that. Like, that feels really bad to me. Because we're already... With 6 sets, that's 2 months a year that they each get to breathe. What is 12 divided by... Let's see, I'm going to do that real quick because I'm bad at math. 1.7 months, right? So that's like a month and 2.5 weeks. So 6.5 weeks is what we're looking at for life in these sets, which is, I'm sorry, that is bonkers. That is absolutely insane to expect people to keep paying out the wazoo for that. The second thing that really sucks, and this is probably half of why I'm starting to feel bad about Secret Lair, about the Fortnitification, is so this year, like I said, we closed out with Final Fantasy, Edge of Eternities, which was in universe but all super space themed. Then we went to where we are now with Spider-Man, which is a crossover set. Then we're closing out the year with Avatar. So 2 to 3 crossover sets, depending on where you want to classify, or 2 to 3 crossover sets in a row, depending on if you really want to hard stop Edge of Eternities as like that was a true genuine Magic set, but that's just personal taste debate. At the very least, you have Spider-Man and Avatar to close out this year. Then we start next year with whatever that unannounced Universes Beyond is, and then Marvel. Then we get 3 sets in a row of regular Magic to close out the year again with Universes Beyond. And this is not mentioning anything about what potential Secret Lair drops could be coming. So it feels bad. Like for the first time in a long time, I've looked at a Magic lineup and I'm like, I can't really like yes, the Marvel superheroes excite me, but just sort of seeing it all in this image with all the other context, I don't have that same excitement that I did for Spider-Man, right? So it's a bummer. I just wanted to run through those and kind of more than just update you guys on like what crossovers are coming, just sort of show I get you guys. Like I get Magic players now. I'm standing in solidarity with you with the fact that like we are getting way too Fortnite-y with these crossovers. Like I'm 100% there with you guys. Let's see. Punk says he sent me an image. Oh, this looks great. So Punk says he has this Greg Horn Electra poster hanging up in his house. As I said, Greg Horn rules. I'm pretty sure this was... I feel like I can see the cup. Like this is like Electra #1 from like 2002. I feel like I can place this issue. But yes, always again, he's a great artist. I get upset or like sad because sometimes because of like alphabet, it's like Greg Horn and then Greg Land, and then people always mix them up, and I'm like, no, you don't deserve that. Like that's not fair to you. All right, let's see. All right, we're hitting the 2-hour mark. Let's just jump over. I guess we can hit this and talk about it for a little bit. Talk about it kind of real quick. Let's see. Let me get a visual up here for everybody. Bum bum bum. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Boo do do do. Yeah, that's a good enough graphic. Why not? Oh, do I even have like a video haven't even set this up. Okay, let me set that screen up real quick, guys. Just 1 second. I'm still here though, so I can see clearly now. Dwayne is gone. Window capture. Put this over. I can't believe it. When I was doing all the updates to everything, I did not remember to include this. Let's see. Hopefully I can get all the dimensions right, or at least close to being right. Oh wow, did I like perfectly land on that? That's pretty good. Good job, me. Or at least like near perfectly hit it. Almost. Yeah, look at that. Look at those skills. That's beautiful. I'm going to put that onto here real quick just so we can jump back and forth real easy. Add that. Add that. Where is it? Oh, scene. Bum 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 bum. Preview. Bum 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 bum. All right, let's see. Let's hope I can pull this off. All right, I did it. Awesome. So, yeah, why don't we, guys, let's close out tonight. Let's talk a little bit about Marvel Zombies, right? Brand new MCU production, the latest MCU production, a spin-off of What If. You know, it's out there. I guess you can probably tell, like, this setup isn't going really well, and it's not that enthusiastic because I'm not that enthusiastic about this show. Let's see. Overall, like to give a you know, an opening sort of review of what we got. It's a 4-episode series. It is a spin-off of that What If episode, What If Zombies. It is fine, right? Like it is how did I described it to Volume Dealer and Disparity over on Twitter. Shout out to you guys. It's not awful. If you watched it, you wouldn't be mad that you watched it, right? Like, you would probably be like, that was, you know, there was something there that might make you, like, if you're watching, just go like, you know, it's nothing to write home about. It's not entirely, like, offensive. It is what I'd say probably like a solid 6, like overall. But then, you know, if you are a Marvel fan and you're just looking for sort of a fix of Marvel characters doing their stuff, this is going to be like, you do get some good satisfaction here. And I will say this, to their credit, this is the first time in a long time that the MCU has felt actually connected, right? Like, we see characters in this show from everywhere. We see Spider-Man, Black Panther, we see Wyatt Russell as John Walker, we see Baron Zemo, we actually see Namor for the first time since Black Panther Wakanda Forever. They actually say his name right. We see Carol, like Danvers. We see Blade finally shows up. We see, even though I fucking hate his guts, Shang-Chi. Side note, Shang-Chi being animated, like not having to see Simu Liu's face, I think that helps a lot. I think that helps a lot with me. But, you know, you have them. You have Khonshu from, you know, Moon Knight. You've got, honestly, this is the craziest thing to me. Like, this is where, okay, I can't, like, get mad at this series. Like, I don't think the series is, like, I don't think the series is necessarily bad, right? I actually, how do I want to set this up? Like, I feel like there's so much to go into, like, this one sentence to set up this clip, but for all its faults, right? Like I just said, this does feel like the MCU is alive, and it feels like it's the first time we've seen it really be connected, probably since, like, Endgame. I think what really hurts this series is, honestly, the insistence of the MC, like, what is the right term? So here, goodbye to Hanos. We're gonna jump over to a different window episode. There we go. So the sort of lead characters for this series, right? Like the main protagonist we follow is Kamala Khan. So it's protagonists, it's Kamala Khan, it's Kate Bishop, and it's Dominique Thorne or Riri Williams, Ironheart. Obviously, I still love Kamala. I like the MCU Kamala a lot. You guys know I love Iman Vellani. She is just a ray of sunshine, protect her at all costs. I really like Haley Steinfeld. Is one of my like celebrity crushes. You know, fellow Hoppa. I know you're married to that stupid quarterback from the Bills, but eventually he's a Bill. You don't want to hang out with him. Let's make some beautiful half Filipino, half white clones that will milk us for all of our money as we grow old and throw us into retirement homes. It sounds great. And then of course, I really don't like Riri. I don't like what they've done with her in the MCU. I don't like her as a comic book character. I don't care. Of course, that doesn't mean if she was written well, I would tell you guys like, hey, I am open. Like, you know what? Credit where credit is due. You know me. I'm intellectually honest. It doesn't work. Like, that doesn't happen here. So what I was saying about this series' weaknesses, I think the two biggest weaknesses are, one, the animation. This animation style, this half-assed, wannabe rotoscope, but it's more like it's heavily rigged animation, right? And by that, you can tell that everything is. So, for example, if I were to animate traditional, like let's say I'm animating something, like I'm doing Hawkeye, right? I'm Kate. If I'm doing it in 2D, I pull it out and maybe there's a smear frame there. And then you see one good shot of like my arm still, then it smears as it comes down and like notches into my bow. The bow, smears, it gets a little blurry. There's maybe one frame where it's in focus and then, it twinges and it flies. In What If over here, or in Marvel Zombies and What If, because of the animation style, you would see Kate draw the entire like a video game model, right? Like she would draw the entire arrow and then notch it and pull it back and fire, which yes, that's how it would look in real life, and that is the right animation. There is no sense of you're putting it in an animated medium. You're not communicating to people like what is the strength of this hit, the speed of this hit, the X, Y, or Z of yada 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 yada. I will say this, I think the animation choice is an unfortunate, like they are already locked into this, because there are some moments in this series where I'm like, whoa, that was some really impressive animation. Did not expect that from What If or the MCU's animated output, honestly, outside of, well, okay, what has it been? It's been two things. It's been X-Men 97 and it's been What If. So X-Men 97, it looks weird, don't get me wrong, but come on, guys, like they did a lot of good animation. That Cyclops fight in the very beginning where he's like pushing himself on the floor and everything with his eye beams, that's what I'm talking. That's the Cyclops I'm talking about, you know what I mean? So those are the two big weaknesses, are this really awful animation style, which probably works for the normies because they don't know any better. But if you're anybody with any sort of visual sense, which I imagine all of us here, either, who are chatting with me or in the VOD or whatever, like if you're watching a show about comic books and video games and entertainment and that kind of stuff, I'm pretty sure everybody has a slight eye for visuals and design. If you have any of that, you'll know, like the classic Red Letter Media thing. You didn't notice, but your brain did. And you'll know, like, it's just not for us. So like that's a big weakness of it. And then it is focusing on, okay, not necessarily focusing on these three, but it is continually leaning into, like, they can't help but go MCU humor on a bunch of this stuff, right? For example, there is a scene later on where Florence Pugh's White Widow, all of the survivors are in the raft, and because it's an underwater base where they can be safe, and they're all hanging out in like the main common area eating lunch. They're all at tables, and White Widow is sitting with Shang-Chi and whatever the hell Awkwafina's character name is. I have not seen Shang-Chi. I will never sing Shang-Chi. I fucking hate you, Simu Liu. Like, straight up. Like, there's no doubt here. But Simu Liu is sitting next to Awkwafina, and White Widow asks, like, so, what's the deal with you two? Just kind of, like, asking their life story, right? Like, this is the first time they've ever met. And they do the whole, like, well, you know, no, not with her. Me and her, like, oh, no, and I'm just like, grow up, like, shut the fuck up. What are we doing here? Be quiet. Like, it's so grating, and you get a lot of that with these three in the lead, right? Like, thankfully, the team here kind of disbands after this episode. Riri gets, it looks like she gets dominated by a zombie horde, but she kind of is like, see that Iron Man suit behind her? She basically tells that drone it's Friday to say, like, she goes, get Kamala out of here, and it grabs Kamala. She, you know, flies away, and Riri, the last we see of her, she's like blasting things, but something that happens at the end might prove otherwise. I'll talk about that in a bit. But and then Kate, just, I'll show you what happens to Kate. But yeah, just that, like, incessant leaning, like, it just, here probably more than anywhere, it kills the, like, it really is, like, emblematic, or, like, exemplifies what the problem with MCU humor is, because this is a desolate, everybody is fucking dead, everybody is being ripped apart in front of your face, no hope, humanity is on, like, the edge, and you're still making, like, stupid jokes like this. I don't know. It felt really weird. There was another instance that I'm trying to remember that was, like, really, really stupid. Well, there is one point where the survivors are trying to go into New Asgard to get some help, and Valkyrie is like, no, you can't enter. Like, this is for the, you know, the gods or whatever. And Blade, he's like, do you know who I serve? And she's like, I don't care what god you serve. You don't serve us. And so he summons Khonshu. Actually, I'm going to pull that up because it's actually a pretty cool visual to see for Khonshu. Yeah, let's see. We'll pull that up, close that one. See, like, don't I? And then, like, Khonshu pops up, which is cool. Like, I'm like, damn. And he's basically, see, and so he's basically like, has it been so long that the Asgardians no longer, like, recognize my name? And Valkyrie's just like, oh, Khonshu, I didn't know it was you. Oops. Yeah, like, how you been? Oh my god. And it's like, can we stop, please? Can we just fucking stop? Aside from that, so that's, like, those are the big negatives. That's what really holds this series back a lot. That being said, there is a freedom they have to play with because this is, like, a what if and it's completely disconnected. They have, like, a big sandbox and like a big toy box, and they do admittedly do some pretty interesting things with them, right? Like, for example, this is something, like, I can't believe, and I just have to give credit to this show, I guess, because it is the year of our Lord 2025, and wait, where is it? No, I think we're already past it. Yeah, I think I jumped too far. Where is it? Yeah, they get everything. Their van gets rocked, and they're like, "Oh, what's going on?" Da, 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 da. And then a bunch of zombies start surrounding them, and they're like, "Oh, what just crashed from the sky?" Guys, it is 2025, and somebody remembered. It's fucking Icarus from the Eternals. Like, the Eternals, somebody remembered them. Like, somebody actually references them and says, you are part of the Marvel Universe in the year of our Lord 2025. Marvel Zombies is essentially the actual Eternals 2, because this is the first time since that movie we've gotten an Eternals reference or mention outside of Tiamat being emergent in Captain America. And we finally get Blade. This is the first canon appearance of any sort of Blade in the MCU, even though it's an alternate universe, which is, that movie was announced 6 years ago, guys. 6 years ago. That it only took 5 years for them to make the entire original God of War trilogy, and those were amazing. What are we fucking doing here? It's so insane. But, you know, we get things like that, and I will say, there's no playing favorites here, right? Like, one of the first zombies we meet here is Captain Marvel, and it's pretty cool. Like, she is supercharged up with her cosmic energy, so her skeleton glows or whatever. And so this is what I wanted to show you guys, right? So I told you, you know, Riri kind of gets lost into a horde. Kate tries to stop Captain Marvel, and so she shoots an arrow at her. And oh no, arrow! It's a gag arrow, and Kate is like, oops. And she literally just gets blasted off of the face of the earth here. She's just, dung. I actually was like, oh, it was so I gotta hand it to them. There are moments like that where you kind of can't predict what is coming next. It is all over the place. Yeah, heroes you wouldn't expect to become zombies. Narratively, as a story, I actually think there is a lot here. I do think there are some really interesting things here. Let's see. There, you know, one thing I thought, so like that's super interesting. There is, I'm trying to remember like the other cool things I will give a compliment to. Oh, what was that? I think it's in this episode. Oh yeah. So another cool thing the series got to do, because it had so much freedom, and I will give them props for this, is we did finally get good resolutions for Black Panther and Thor, right? Because as we know, in the current MCU, T'Challa just sort of dies from an incurable disease, even though he could have gotten help from S.H.I.E.L.D. or his sister, but he just chose not to. Really, really stupid. But here we have him, you know, he goes up against the zombie Thanos along with Spidey and Ant-Man, but realizing that we're sort of, you know, at the end of it here, like there's only one choice to save the world from zombie Thanos. Black Panther like takes out Thanos and pushes him, just sacrifices himself to dip him into the core of Wakanda. And I'm like, okay, cool. Finally T'Challa got something. And then like, to my point about like animation, right? How like, I feel like they wanted to do like there's stuff here. Like check this entire sequence of T'Challa where he, where is it? Is it? Yeah, right here. This entire sequence where T'Challa's like, he actually does the cat run, right? He grabs the soul stone. He knows he needs to, you know, use it to stop Thanos. He's rushing with the cat run. We get these awesome like pause frames where he's clear, like they make up for the bad models and animation with the effects here. And I think that's them realizing like, this is kind of stiff and weird. And you can see that a lot in like, check out the effects. Like when Thanos punches Black Panther and stuff, you see a lot more like flash frames and little particles bursting off of his arm. And yeah, so that I really liked like this little sequence, and I liked that for him. I also did like, so as we all remember, you know, what happened to Thor after Infinity War? Oh, well, that happens here too, actually. He, you know, Thor shows up, but instead of like the proper Battle of Wakanda, it's against zombies. And when he does, he again fails to go for the head, which leads Thanos to just eliminate Groot and Rocket and almost kill Thor, but like tear away half of his face. leaves Rocket as just a skull. So, in the movies, if you remember, one of the biggest complaints everybody has, including myself, is that there it is, a good shot. When faced with that, Thor just, broed out. He retreated into that house in Sweden, and he was just playing Fortnite all day, and he got fat. And that was like, really? Here, we see him, he's the Asgard king still, but he's very broken. Like, all he does is drink. He doesn't move. He just sits in silence, watching over his kingdom, right? Which, that sucks. However, we do get, we do learn in just a second that Wanda has tricked everybody, and she's, in Asgard to take over, and she starts, zombie hoarding. And as everybody starts fleeing, we get... Yeah, so they start trying to flee. Wanda grabs them with her chaos energy and is like, I'm not letting you out of here. And then they get saved at the last second by Thor, who, finds a new fighting spirit, and he's like, I'm going to redeem myself. If I couldn't save them before, I'll save you. And yeah, we get this pretty cool, fight of, lightning and chaos energy between Thor and Wanda, which buys everybody just enough time to get the hell out of there. Unfortunately, we do see later on that, obviously, understandably, Wanda is victorious because she is the freaking Scarlet Witch. But it's still, finally, we gave Thor, his due. He finally got, a good closure to that story. And it's voiced by Chris Hemsworth. So it's a little bit, symbolic in all regards. But, oh yeah, this was pretty cool, damn cool too, where... So the entire plot up to this point is Kamala has a little transponder device that was given to her by the Avengers, and they're like, hey, this is the key to saving everybody and stopping the plague. And it turns out it is a transponder for the fucking Nova Corps. They actually show up for the first time since Guardians 2, and actually 1 where they actually showed up in uniform with helmets and ships and everything. To their dismay, of course, because it is the Nova Corps, they their obligation is not to Earth, it's to sort of the entire galaxy. So instead of just coming to the aid of the surviving Avengers, they open fire because it's like, oh, we can't let you off this planet. That's the entire point. Call the Nova Corps. They'll either stop it or contain it. And so they've decided we're going to contain it. That's pretty much the, that was a pretty cool Easter egg. I did really like there is this full-on, fight later on. We've all seen, that Spider-Man shot from the trailer or whatever, right? Where he rips off a bunch of heads. Still, again, a pretty cool animation thing, even if the rigs themselves are kind of bad. Oh, this was cool. One of the Sorcerer Supremes takes all this, gunship fire and just rains it back down on the zombie Asgard ships. I thought that was pretty cool. There is the big plot of this all reveals that when T'Challa pushed Thanos into that pit and the Infinity Stones erupted, the energies sort of were splitting out like the Genesis wave in Sonic the Hedgehog and destroying everything. And so the Avengers went, we need something to contain it. We need somebody to hold it. Obviously, Bruce Banner steps up, and he is now the Infinity Hulk, where he just, he is just, the most powerful thing on the planet right now, right? I think there's a fight scene with him. He does stuff. Oh, no, wait, that's when he loses already? I forget. No, he fights. Oh, yeah, because he fights Thor right here, right? Because, like I said, Thor gets zombified. And, oh, this is one of those, moments of animation I'm talking about, right? Blade leaps in to kill Thor, and we get this awesome, very, anime-y, erasure animation that's super detailed. Do you see that? It's his face, and it slowly burns up, and then, we get frames of his, skull, but also, the skin coming off of his skull until it wipes away. That is not something we would have gotten in What If. So they're clearly stepping up their game. And even here, a lot of these impact frames, the the sparking of the axe or of Stormbreaker. Actually, now that I'm like looking at this and talking to you guys out loud about it, it really feels like it's Demon Slayer inspired, because that's what a lot of the Demon Slayer movies have been doing. Like, that's they're beautiful, don't get me wrong, but a lot of their fight scenes are just clash, clash, clang, 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 clash, 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 and it's like, I have no idea what the fuck is going on. I guess this is supposed to be hype. I guess this is a clap moment. I don't know. But again, credit where credit is due. As an animation dork, I have to be like, that you're stepping up there. Like, you are actually doing things. So overall, yeah, like, again, you know, zombified Thor, Wanda actually being like the evilest and the strongest and most powerful. They're able to do that in this show because they're not restricted by, you know, licensing your image, or can I get this actor filming over here in time for any of that. So this is one of those, I talk about this a lot. I call it the Earth's Mightiest Heroes example, which is oftentimes if you get tasked to do like let's say do a Star Wars show, or do a Marvel, or not, Star Wars is a bad example, but you know, do a Marvel show, or do a DC show, or an Image show, or you know, whatever. Because you have all of these expansive stories, and they're not, a lot of them, you know, get wooey with canon, and it's kind of like, oh, how could Cap be here and fighting Atlantis and the Krees, and it gets wonky, right? Even though we all understand in our brains we can make it work, if we tried to plot everything down, it's a disaster. The Earth's Mightiest Heroes thing to me is when you are able to take a big continuity like that and sort of streamline everything, because you're making like a new narrative. So with Earth's Mightiest Heroes, it does all of the, you know, here's how the Avengers meet, but then it also incorporates the Secret Invasion storyline from that very beginning. It incorporates the Korvac stuff. The Guardians of the Galaxy meet them very early into their career. The new Fantastic Four exist, but they don't exist specifically for the Fantastic Four. They're there because they're the emergency reserve Avengers. So there's lots of cool things you can do there that you're able to do, because you don't really have to worry about all the stuff that held back that original thing, like scheduling, or, oh, we had this idea now instead of then, all that sort of stuff. And I think Marvel Zombies does a really good job at, you know, if we were going from the MCU as we knew it and making it zombified, I think this really, story-wise, works out. I don't know how much more meat you can milk off of, or actually, let me rephrase this. The one thing I will say, I am bummed as a fan of the comics that this is sort of kind of completely disconnected from all of that. Like, this is, the original comics Marvel Zombies were so much more different. They were sentient, and they were all working together and conscious in service of their goal of getting more food. The first Marvel Zombie series ends with the original, like the main 8, the main new Avengers, getting the powers of Galactus so that they can go to different universes and, you know, or different worlds at least, and gobble up their citizens. I really like that. It was a very satirical take on zombies at the time. That, you know, 2005, 2006, we were getting into this really big zombie resurgence. We were having Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, was it? Dawn of the Dead, whichever his was, the remake of the George Romero. We were in Resident Evil 4 had just came out. Dead Rising was taking everything by storm. We were, you know, the Resident Evil movies were still going strong. Zombies were a big, what is that? What's the one, the movie, the Zombieland? The one with the one with Jesse Eisenberg and Woody Harrelson and Emma Stone. That one. That was like a big thing. So that's what, you know, they dropped Marvel Zombies the comic, and it's this different take on zombies. And it's, again, it's a, in a good way, it's subverting those expectations of what a zombie story would be. This one is more of just a traditional zombie story. A traditional, somebody got bit, let's deal with the hordes. And so while I do miss the comic book stuff from Robert Kirkman, it is interesting to at least see it play out this way, because we actually haven't seen this kind of thing play out in the comics at all. like zombies still being able to use their superpowers. They're not necessarily sentient, but they're able, Thor is able to call a Stormbreaker and still call down the lightning. Things like that are interesting to me. And now here's where I give a sort of room for improvement score on this report card. I made that comment a second ago about I don't know how much you can go like out of this. And I want to correct that, because if this was just a show where it was seeing here's a character as a zombie, here's a character that gets attacked by a zombie. Next. If it was just that, there wouldn't be a lot here. I was talking about this with Andrew last night. It's sort of like the whole premise to the Punisher or Deadpool or Wolverine kills the entire Marvel universe, right? Cool. Like, yeah, you get what's on the tin, but then that's pretty much it. You get that novelty factor of like, wow, Johnny Storm's head exploded. But what do you have past that? You don't have anything. You just go like, yeah, I read that story. Johnny's head exploded, but that was about it, right? Here, they actually have like an overarching narrative, and I want to like, this is probably one of the more, I don't know, I will admit this intrigued me, right? So if sort of summarizing everything, if you guys remember, Wanda is she's the queen of the dead. She's trying to amass an army to actually, why is she trying to amass the army? Let me look that up real quick. I totally am blanking. Marvel Zombies, Scarlet Witch. It's like to fight somebody is why she wants it. Let me She oh, that's right. She wants the power of those Infinity Stones. Like, she wants the Infinity Hulk's power. But the only way she's going to be able to defeat him is if she has, like, massively powerful armies. So that's why she invaded Asgard. That's why she took over the Atlanteans. That's why she wanted them to call the Nova Corps in so that she could, absorb them. Because this disease it's not undeadness, right? Like in the traditional sense. It's like magic undead. So she can infect them that way. So, she wants the infinity energies. We get to this final battle, and even though we saw all the heroes assembling and everything, Wanda, unfortunately, here it is. She unfortunately, where is the moment she does it? Yeah, she is able to, there it is. She appears, and she's able to get in contact with the Infinity Hulk, and she starts absorbing his energies out of him. Kind of like, oh shit, the heroes are actually going to lose. As she starts absorbing this power, we sort of get a montage of what's going on the battlefield with everybody sort of losing. Spider-Man and Ant-Man are being pulled in by the hordes. The Sorcerer Supremes are all being overrun. The, who else was there out there? I actually don't remember who else was in that fight. But yeah, Shang-Chi is starting to succumb to an infection. And so Kamala is just sort of like, Wanda goes up to Kamala and says, it is not too late. Like, you can join me. I want you by my side. Like, this is a better way. This is how I can fix everything. If I take all these energies, help me here, Kamala. And Kamala actually has this moment where she's like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm overwhelmed. And Wanda reaches out her hand and is like, I can help save you. Help me. And boom, whatever Wanda wants to do, it starts happening. Kamala succumbs. And in a flash, it looks like, all the zombie hordes are being destroyed. And Kamala wakes up and she's like, whoa, I'm back home. And she rushes out and she's like, oh my God, I'm so excited to see my friends like Riri, Kate. And she starts talking to them and they're like, wow, you're acting crazy, girl. But as she's talking to them, so right here, she's like, oh, this is a great day. Look, there's even a cute boy over there. And they look and they're like, oh yeah, he is pretty cute. But then as they're staring, Kamala's like, oh, boom. She gets this weird snap and she's like, what the fuck was that? And she starts looking around and seeing all of this might not be real. And then like it's just maybe a facade replacing the zombies. And then during one of these cuts, I think it's this one. Yeah, she sees Ironheart is still alive, and Ironheart sort of, starts running to her and telling her, like, Kamala, don't believe this. Like, none of this is real. And that's kind of where it ends, right? Like, none of this is real. Wake up. And Kamala having this, like, realization, like, did I fuck up? And that's where it ends. So, like, overall, like, I think that could be... So, first of all, I am so... Like, kudos to them for showing, like, not just the characters losing, which I'm a big fan of, right? Like, I liked Infinity War over Endgame. Obviously, the heroes always need to win in the end, but I like the stakes that come from villains winning for a significant amount of time. So not only did they let, like, the heroes lose here, but they also made Kamala, like, the loser, right? Like, she was the leader who made this bad decision. And it was her own decision. Like, there was no mind control. There was no, I'm doing this to trick somebody. Kamala fucked up here, and it's a major one. So it's like, wow, you guys didn't treat the Golden Goose like the Golden Goose, and I got to give you guys credit for that. And then, of course, yeah, the whole idea of, oh, am I actually living in this reality, or is it broken? I think you can do a lot there. Like, for example, my main question is, so... why did Wanda take the energy? What is she doing? There are things you could do there, right? I think overall, this first shot, it's got some bits that I'm like, okay, you tried. Like there's some stuff here. It feels very typically season 1 of a show, right? Think season 1 of The Next Generation or Parks and Rec or even like Arrow. Those shows were really kind of rough in those first seasons while they tried to find their footing. Right now, there's no confirmation we're getting more Marvel Zombies. But if we do, I think season 2 would be more entertaining than this one, like, easily. Again, it's still, like, entertaining is still, like, the best I can give, because overall, it's still, like, it's an MCU production. It is what it is. Who knows anymore, right? Like, the entire MCU was up in the air, considering that we have confirmation from Feige that following Endgame, everything resets. And we're getting, like, brand new Captain America casting, brand new Iron... Like, we're doing all of that. So, everything is sort of on a pause right now. Including something like this. Even though, like, on my end, I'm like, it's it's what if. Like, it's out of continuity. You can keep pushing this out while the MCU does its thing and, like, double dip. Like, this is the strategy you should be running with. I don't know. It's weird. A good effort. Yeah, like, again, I just wish there was, just get rid of all that MCU shit, like the humor and that, just bleh. But aside from that, I don't know, I had fun with it, or I at least enjoyed the time I had it on my screen while I was playing Fortnite, right? And then, yeah, Marvel Zombies, all right. That's really all I have to end on that one. Oh, check that out. Look who shows up right at the end. We have Volume Dealer. Volume Dealer says, why wouldn't Wanda turn her into a zombie? We don't know. Remember, Wanda was saying a bunch of stuff like, I need you to do this. Like, I need your help. And I think it was, I might have, like, glazed over it, but I think it had something to do with, like, the way she interacts and activates her bangle and her powers and all of that stuff. But I think there's something to that. Or we'll learn that, like, she had to use Kamala as, like, a conduit to use the energy properly. I don't know, because comics. I'm sure that's what's going to come. Right? Yeah, that's some John Carpenter Prince of Darkness ending, which, right, Volume Dealer? Like, we would never have expected that from an MC. I would have genuinely expected this show to end with... the heroes get a cure, probably delivered by, Riri and Kate and Kamala. We get a 5-minute, 10-minute wrap up of, like, oh, the world is fine, we move forward. And then, because this is Marvel, they would not be able to resist going, whoa, maybe there will be more. And we would get a tease of, like, everybody's great. And we'd see, like, Paul or like Scott and Cassie giving a hug. And then, credits, and then post-credit scene, some zombie that they missed, right? Like, they're in a lab, some, like, maybe Rocket or Groot. or somebody is zombified that they missed, and it's like, oh, there's another infection point, which is like easy, dumb, lame, just typical. But I do really like the ending we got here. Like, kudos to them. Kudos to them. And then, yeah, I talked about that a little bit before you showed up. Infinity Hulk versus Zombie Thor was pretty cool. This is a point that I know you'll know that I was talking about, but, like, did you notice how the animation, like, effects were so insane? Like, they were another level compared to What If, and like, What If Zombies specifically. So I think that really helped elevate this from just slop to tasty slop. Yeah, so Volume Dealer says, I didn't hate Kamala, but focusing it on her and her team spurging out was annoying as fuck. Yeah, you and I talked about this on, well, we exchanged like one tweet each about this on Twitter, Volume Dealer. Like I've said before, and I said it a little bit ago, I really like the MCU Kamala Khan, especially because it's Amon Vellani. I like Kate Bishop as a character, always have since the Young Avengers, and I like Haley Steinfeld. She's just, you know, like a celebrity crush. Just, I like her. Don't care at all about Ironheart. That being said, one of the weaknesses I was saying is, like, they did too much MCU humor, especially with those three, that it's like, we're in the middle of a zombie apocalypse, guys. Like, maybe treat this like it's actually a zombie apocalypse and not a D&D campaign, right? Like, that was my big thing. The Bengal is supposed to be a Quasar band. Yeah, I don't know if they're ever going to follow up on that, because that was the whole thing in the Marvels, was like, Kamala has one band, and then that Tom Hiddleston's girlfriend had the other band, and she wanted both of them to get power back to the Kree. It's a very, very thin just movie overall, but in that movie, they identify them as the quantum bands specifically, but there's no connection there. You know what I mean, Volume Dealer? It's sort of like they name drop it for us to go like, oh, I know those ones. Like, I know the quantum bands. And then I think, so remember how in the beginning, not remember, I'm sure nobody else here watched it. I only watched it because of work. But there's that whole bit about all of them changing places when they use their powers, right? I think that probably had, in some first draft, there was probably a closer relation to like the nega bands or the quantum bands and like clacking them, and that would change them. Then God knows what happened with that movie, and it just got translated into, well, they're just gonna jump whenever they use their powers, and we're not gonna draw a direct connection between any of this. So yeah, who knows what they're even doing there. I think that's going to be one of those things they just ignore until we get into the reboot, and then they'll go, oh, great. See, I will say this. Volume Dealer says, I knew the Nova Corps wasn't going to help them. I will be honest. I did think that when they showed up, I didn't necessarily think the Corps was going to help them. I did think it was going to be like, you're on quarantine, we can't let you leave. But I did actually think, Volume Dealer, for a second that we would have gotten an actual Nova in the next episode. It would have deployed out, like, okay, we're going to send somebody down to, like, investigate with you and see what's going on. And it would have either been, like, Nova, like, Richard, and, like, that would have been his first introduction. Or, and I also would have been fine with this, John C. Reilly. Remember, he was the Nova in Guardians of the Galaxy. We only saw him briefly in his uniform, but if all Novas have the Nova Force, I could easily see them doing that. Especially in animated, it'd be easier to, believe John C. Reilly as like flying superhero like duty man. I could have been behind that. And then yeah, and then Volume Dealer says it got brutal from episode 1 to episode 3 and 4. Yeah, like, I was genuinely surprised by the amount of brutality. I mean, I would even say episode 2 was pretty brutal, right? Where you get that entire bit at the very end where Namor breaks into the raft and starts like slaughtering the survivors. But more than just like random bloodshed, we get like 3 or 4 quick hit moments at the end where he's like ripping through everybody. And I'm just like, damn. All right then. Like, that That's kind of crazy. Oh, and then there was, like, here's another one of those animation things that I'm talking about, right? Where can I get it? So, this is also something to shout out because you guys know me. I love all the Ant-Man stuff. And in the sense of, like, I like how connected this makes the MCU feel. They actually remembered, like, Hank and Janet are in the quantum realm, but they got infected too, and the quantum realm got infected, and so they're still in their, like, quantum realm gear. I don't know, I just was like, see, everybody still lives, everybody's connected. But check this out, right? Like, we're talking about, like, Viscera, where Janet slams her hand down on Valkyrie, and then we see this, like, oddly, like, really well animated scene of Valkyrie, like, climbing up her arm. That ending, like, blood spurt stuff looks really bad, but guys, like, look at, like, like the sinews pop out when Valkyrie's going up. It leaves bumps. They're leveling up over there, and I genuinely think the key thing here is getting, like, change the animation style, go back to either at the very least go to something like X-Men 97, right? Obviously, I think we would all prefer a genuinely hand-drawn sort of thing, sort of like an anime. I don't think we'll ever get that out here in the West, but if you know, because we do a lot of, like, animation and rigging animation, but X-Men 97, that's animation rigged. It's the exact same sort of style as this, guys, but the way they do their modeling and all the filtering and shaders they have on it, it makes it look more, okay, I don't want to say more organic because it's still rough, but it looks better. It looks more animated, if you will. So get past that, and I really do think, I don't know if it could go past 2 seasons, but I do think you have something super solid here. I think this could be one of those entries that goes down alongside Thunderbolts, where we go and you know, like, all of the MCU sucks right now, but those were fun, and if you watch those, they're at least okay. Like, you're at least gonna have fun. So in this day and age, I think that's kind of all you can ask for, right? Oh yeah, Spidey about to get eaten was like a must-have screenshot. I definitely got it for last night. Like, I was writing an article and I grabbed that, but, like, we've seen him in one of the Doctor Strange movies. I can't remember Doctor Strange movies. I can't remember which one, but I'm glad that they remembered that these guys exist. I really liked this. So there are, in the final battle, there are 2 Sorcerer Supremes. There's a black lady and a, like, French guy, or, like, an English guy, like a white guy. They seem to come out of nowhere, but if you guys remember, like, in Doctor Strange 1, they tell Strange, the ancient one, she tells Strange, like, we have 3 different sanctums arranged in the magical positions around Earth, and they each have a guardian. And so Strange is going to be that one for New York, and then we had one in, I think it's, like, Africa, and then I think, like, Russia or something out there. Those are the 2 guardians for that. And I'm like, that was actually established. They named them and established that lore all the way back in 2016 with Strange, and they finally delivered. And I'm like, that is impressive. I'll give you that. This was more satisfying than the What If with Energy Land of Lakes girl. Dude, Kaori or whatever. I don't know. That's kind of what we had this conversation earlier in the show, Volume Dealer, me and Timon, about, like, different eras of, like, comic books. And that, to me, is, like, that lands in what we were calling, like, the shitty Marvel Now era, where they were just like, here are just bad characters, bad ideas, nobody is reining anybody in, like, ugh. Because, like, I'm not against the idea, like, I can see something cool being done with, you know, Native American woman gets superpowers and uses them, like, she fights against the Spanish when they invade, or she fights against the English when they invade. And I even did like that bit at the very end of that episode where she, like, warps over to England into the Queen's court, and the Queen is like, what the fuck? And she's like, here's how it's gonna go down. Like, you won't come to our people, yada. And I'm like, continuity. It's weird, right? Like if you're going all out of your way to promote that character and you don't do that, what are we doing? Uh-oh. Did we F? Uh-oh. Stream looks fine on my end. Okay, so we are back. All right, yeah. Don't know what happened there, guys. Everything is fine on my end. I don't even have dropped frames over on OBS. That must have been something coming from YouTube side because, yeah, no idea. Nothing happened over here. But what I was saying was, she was created for What If. Marvel, like, I'm up for that, for the MCU creating more original characters. I think you have an avenue. Do it. Yeah, probably just like an internet hiccup or like a Google hiccup or something. I know earlier today I had a meeting and I tried to use Google Meet and it like imploded on us and we couldn't even meet. So who knows? It's just a thing. But yeah, so like Kaori and Scarlet Scarab, I'm like, cool, create original characters. That's awesome. And then you can send them back to the comics and we can get this cool, this is how the cycle should work. But then if you remember in that episode specifically, so she gets her powers by falling into, like, she's chased by Spanish conquistadors into she falls into a cave and it drops her into like a magic lake, like a magic energy lake that gives her powers. But it also it's the gateway to like her people's final like heaven, right? Like the whatever her tribe is, like their Valhalla essentially. And when she gets there, she's like, wow, I had no idea, like, all my people still exist. And she's, like, having fun and, like, indulging in it. But she's also, like, learning, like, oh, you all have these powers. And he's like, and the guy she meets, like her main contact. No, it's not all women. They're because, like, they're the guy, like, she meets a guy. It's all, or you mean it's all women original characters they've created. Either way. But, yeah, so in the tribe, it's all, men, women, children, and they all know how to use the powers. And but like the moment that lost me was they do this game, right? Like this tribal game where they use their super speed to try and like, I believe it's like herd buffalo or like take like rocks off of like a buffalo, like Stampede's neck. It's something where you're like running alongside the buffalo and you have to use your skills to wrangle them to some goal. I forget exactly what it was, but the guy who's like teaching her, he's like, yeah, we do this all the time. This is a regular event. And she's like, oh, I don't know, like, what? And he's like, don't worry, like, you'll get the hang of it. And they start, and she's immediately, like, she kills it. She best fucking, like, buffalo herder ever. And I'm like, all right, yeah, I know what we're doing here. Like, I know what you are. So that was, it's a bummer. Like, again, what if, and like a lot of like current MCU stuff has tiny nuggets of like, we're doing some, like, pull on that. But then you get this feeling like they got too scared. You can see like, oh, that goes a little too out of pocket. We don't want to scare off everybody, right? And then that ends up getting us into weird spots. Punk says, my favorite What If episode was where What If Black Panther was Star-Lord. That one's fine. Like, that to me is a good use of the whole what if scenario, like genuinely like an alternate universe. I'm fine with it, I guess. I'm not the biggest MCU T'Challa fan. I really like Chadwick Boseman, and I like his presence in the character, but I think they heavily neuter the character. Like, his character should be more like he was in Civil War. That's perfect. Than he is in like the later Avengers and Black Panther movies, right? Where he's sort of like a little goofy pushover. So that episode's cool. Like, it's fine. My favorite, I think, is the What If Earth Lost Its Mightiest Heroes, the season 1 episode where we go through sort of how the Avengers came together from the movies, but we find out they're all dead or they all get killed. And then the reveal Nick Fury is like, I have no idea what's going on. He ends up teaming with Loki because he's like, you have to, like, you're a god. If you want to take over, we can have a proper war, but there's nothing to take over if this happens. And Loki like helps him, and they discover it was Hank Pym, and he's wearing a the Yellow Jacket armor, which I thought was like, oh, that's sick. And he is the one actively going out and killing everybody because Hope died in one of the events. I forget. Hope dies as a result of all of this activity. I think it's like in a Hulk attack or something. And he gets all mad and he kills them all. Like, I really liked that one because that one to me felt like, to me, a what if scenario or an Elseworlds should be more of like, here was an event and we're going to explore how it went different instead of just like, what if thing A was thing B. So I really liked that we're actually taking like a divergent path in the multiverse and the timelines there. That's a really good one to me. Yeah, Timon says, they screwed with Spidey in every single media. I can't care about any Marvel Disney product. I mean, that's fair. Again, I'm not saying What If is the best and everybody should go out and rush and watch it, but if you're bored and you need some background noise while you're playing Fortnite or whatever, like I was, or Magic the Gathering Arena or whatever it is, you could do worse, right? You could easily do worse. Yeah, Jeffrey Wright was great as the voice of the Watcher. I did like that, except, so you bring up this one, Infinity Ultron, hands down. Yes, that is a fucking good one. I actually just watched that earlier today while I was working. That one is great. To your related point, though, or to what Punk just said, like, I do like Jeffrey Wright as the Watcher a lot. I am not a fan of how goofy, like, MCU they made him after he, like, starts recruiting everybody, right? Like, who's he talking to? He's talking to somebody. He's like, and they're like Thor's like, can I get a beer? Because he's all bro or whatever, and they're all like dysfunctional. And I think it's like Captain Carter. She's like, you assembled them to the Watcher, and then they come up with some plan, and the Watcher is like, well, I assembled them. And like, Watchers should not be quippy. Like, you shouldn't have emotion or humor. Like, that's the whole point of the Watcher, right? Like, that's what made Uatu showing the Ultimate Nullifier back in the comics such a big deal, was that like, oh, this emotion man actually is giving into his emotion. So like, I really did like Jeffrey Wright as that. It's, again, he was, I think, underserved by the writing. I'm also a little like, I'm torn on how there's that moment where Jeffrey Wright, or where the Watcher is, so I'm torn on this one, guys. Like let me know what you guys think. So there's that scene in that Ultron episode where Ultron is like done, like he's won, and the Watcher starts narrating, and he's like, with this power, you know, the Watcher the Ultron had found himself alone or whatever. And Ultron goes like, wait, who is that? Like, who's talking? And the Watcher doesn't realize, and he like keeps narrating, and he's like, but his powers allowed him to become aware of one. And then like Ultron turns and he's like, I see you. But instead of like, to me, the natural reaction would be like, oh, and like, oh God, like, if in like, oh, or like, what? And then, you know, Ultron attacks. But he has this moment of like, oh no. And it's like, I don't know about that. Like, make him alien. He's alien. He's Uatu, right? Like, but again, that is a very minor nitpick, and it really only exists for that stretch of span between Ultron discovering that other worlds exist and then everybody like assembling and finally going to the fight. All the other episodes, he's great. Yeah, no, Jeffrey Wright's a good one. And then yeah, Volume Dealer was like, yeah, that Yellow Jacket reveal was great. Black Panther versus Zombie Thanos was very cool. I did mention that a little earlier. It has some really, really good animation. Just like those hits, like when he like strikes him and it like does the slow-mo frames. I've always said this, right? Like, Zack Snyder, you abuse the shit out of slow-mo. You are banned. But the way he used it in 300 is like the perfect way, where and specifically in the like fast battle scenes where they'd be running and then like Leonidas would take his shield. It's like, boom, and then it like goes back to regular. Like, that's perfectly how you should do like slow down. And I think this, like, that fight used it really well. Yeah, I just want them to get rid of the damn modeling style. Like, it is just ugly. Like, I just am not about it. You know what I mean? But with that, guys, thanks to Volume Dealer, who we always like. I mean this complimentary. Like, I'm glad you showed up, buddy. I'm glad we got to talk to you. You extended the stream by another 30 minutes, which I'm happy. I love hanging out with you guys on a Friday. But at 3 hours, before I sign off, let's see. Punk says, how did you feel about the Doctor Strange in What If? I liked the initial, like, how he turned, right? Like, what if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands? Like, I liked that story. I liked that hubris finally collapsing on him. I liked that. Did not like what they did with him afterwards, because they still kept him very Doctor Strange quippy, which again, guys, like, you can't sell me on something being desolate and apocalyptic and over if everybody is still, like, joking around. And the one that specifically stands out to me, and it's probably because I just watched it, but when they assemble all of those first round of, like, multiverse Avengers or whatever you want to call them, right? The Guardians of the Multiverse. When they all assemble, they're like, all right, we're going into battle. What, like, should we have a toast? And they, like, Doctor Strange gives them all drinks, and Doctor Strange goes to give, like a toast. And he starts, like, and it's, like, really bad, and it's really rambling. And it's just, like, I don't know. Like, would you even give a toast? Like, that should go to, like, Bro Thor. I don't know. Again, there's lots of good ideas here, and there are good threads. Some of them just don't get picked up on the right way, right? Which is, like, so I'm not going, like, no more Marvel Zombies, fire all of them, like, you guys have some talent here. I don't know personally what the X factor is that's going to lock you guys in. Obviously, my two recommendations, animation style, back off of the MCU humor, but I ultimately don't know. But I do think there is something here, right? And yeah, like that's what I wanted it more to be, Volume Dealer. Volume Dealer says, what if is kind of like the Twilight Zone. It is, and that's how the comics were. The show is less of that. It is more of that, like, what if this person was that person or that, rather than, like, what if this scenario happened? I feel like Marvel Zombies as a show is more of like a what if this scenario happened. Same with the original episode. But yeah, just get rid of the damn modeling animation. Like, it's just the worst. But with that, guys, we've hit the 3 hour mark. I've got to go to the, and see, to me, Volume Dealer says, not all stories are dire, but eerie. And that's my kind of shit. Like, that's what I want out of, like, a multiverse story. Is not necessarily like, oh, the entire world is, like, awful if it went this way, but, like, it creepily is just off just enough, right? Like, creep. A lot of, like, I've always liked, the ones that are always creepy to me are, I'm just going to make an example, but, like, like, Peter Parker lives his life, and he's so happy, but then, like, he can never, like, something's always bothering him. Something is never right? Because he never locked onto the destiny. He's the only Peter in the entire multiverse that never locked. And I'm like, that is fucking scary. And, like, that's the kind of eerie, terrifying thing to me. But enough of that existential crisis. It is Friday night. I'm going to let you guys get out of here. I'm sure you've got friends to hang out with, girls to hit up, boys to hit up, video games to play, comics to read, movies to watch. All of that fun stuff. I hope you guys had a great 3 hours hanging out with me. I hope I kicked your weekend off on a positive note. As always, I love hanging out with you, whether you are actively chatting with me as the live stream is happening, or if you're watching in the VOD, you make this happen. If it weren't for you guys, if I didn't have an audience, I wouldn't be able to do this show. And that, warms my heart, knowing that at least there are people out there, you do exist out there, who care about, not just rolling around in the mud all day, right? Who cares about all that, pig and shit stuff? Let's remember the things we like. Let's have fun. Let's laugh. Let's get together and be like, oh, that was cool. No, that was cool. So, from me to all of you out there, I love you. I can't wait to see you next week, right back here, same Mav time, same Mav channel, for another episode of Good Mav Ugly. Remember, we might be doing I am intending to do a opening stream for my Marvel or my Spider-Man Magic Card booster box on Tuesday. So keep an eye out for that. There's not going to be a lot of pop in circumstance. I'm probably just going to go live and say, yo. As always, boundingintocomics.com for new news every day. You've got about oh man, like 2 hours or like an hour and 45 minutes. Go to the Rippaverse, pre-order Andrew's Rippazine #5, the debut of his character Blue Shift. Catch me and him Thursday nights over on Foil Variant at 4 p.m. Pacific time. And I believe that is all I've got for you. So from me to Volume Dealer to Corey, man, I love this. Now that I'm starting earlier, I actually get to see Corey at the end of my stream instead of just for like 5 minutes at the beginning of it. We've got Corey, we've got Timon, we've got Zero. Guys, thank you for hanging out with me in the chat. I know we had Tebia for a little bit earlier. I know Shinkai was around for a bit. Whether you were chatting, whether you watch later, I love you. I can't wait to see you. And yeah, I don't know. Take it easy, guys, and I'll see you very, very soon.
As the creator of Mara Jade,
Wait! I am not the creator of Mara Jade, and I want you to get out of this office right now.
I'm sorry, Zeb.
No way.
You brought
No
it on
way.
You brought it on yourself.
I don't want you here.
I'm so
Out.
sorry, George. I didn't think it would go like this.
Out.
Ted, I got your voucher.
Out! There.
I'm sorry about that. I'm so sorry. We'll have him like burned and we'll
I don't
execute
even
him
know
and
who
burned.
that guy